Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new audiobook. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 61 Rescue. If the combat power is not enough, don't we still have the Fire Stone? That's right, there are still a lot of flame stones left from the previous operation, which happens to be usable this time. Teach those upright guys in Olili a lesson. What about the target? How about the Loki family? No, the big three of the Loki family are too powerful. I'm afraid that the flame stone won't be able to cause too much damage to them. Where's the Ganesha family? There are too many people in that family, and there is no way to cause too much damage to them at once. Sure enough, there are only those women from the Astria family. That's right, let's choose the Astoria Familia. I want to let those stinky girls have a good experience. At this time, the remnants of the Dark faction have gone completely crazy. They are doing evil purely for killing, they don't care about other things anymore. The news released by the Dark faction quickly reached the ears of those who cared, and the members of the Astria family also got the news. Regarding the remnants of the Dark faction making trouble near the 30th floor, anyone with a discerning eye can see that there is something wrong with such direct news. However, people with high skills are bold, especially after a few members of the family have been promoted to LV4. Alex is also a little swollen. This was especially true for the members of the family, none of them seemed to care about the remnants of the Dark faction. It's just a small trash fish with a group of small trash fish, how can it compare with their Astria family? They have already roughly guessed the identity of the enemy. After the nightmare incident on the 27th floor, the remaining Dark faction may reach this depth with only the Rudra family. After knowing the identity of the enemy, the last trace of worry in their hearts was also let go. On this day, Agina came home very early, and almost broke the good relationship between Saul and Riveria. Fortunately, the little guy is more sensible, and he knows how to knock when entering the house. After her family members returned home, Agina had no shortage of people to take her down the dungeon. However, the previous relationship made the little guy have a good relationship with the girls in Astria's family, and he often went back to play with them. From the other party's mouth, Saul heard the news that all the members of the Astria family went to the 30th floor to fight against the Dark faction. The news was like a bolt from the blue, and Saul didn't expect the children of Astria's family to be so mobile. I just acted after hearing some wind, shouldn't I investigate the specific situation on the 30th floor first? I'm not afraid of any traps or conspiracies at all. It's clear that I want to run over the opponent with hard power. I have to praise them for their bravery. If it weren't for the existence of Jagnet, maybe they could really do it. If you are too arrogant, you will pay the price. Saul sighed helplessly. Thinking of my relationship with Astria, if those children were really wiped out like in the original book, that woman would cry. Moreover, those were talented children, and it would be a pity to die at the hands of Jagnet. Althea, you go to the 30th floor. At this time, Saul can only count on Althea. Riveria's strength may be sufficient, but how to deal with Jagnat's magic counter? That guy is the first monster to kill, a glass cannon with full speed and attack power. Even Riveria can easily overturn if she is a little careless. What's more, if Riveria goes to support the Astria family now at the speed of Riveria, it is estimated that they will only be able to collect a corpse for them. I see. An ethereal voice sounded in Saul's ear, and as the voice drifted away, the figure behind him had disappeared. 30 floors. While Althea was on her way, the battle between the two sides had already begun. Since Yan Luo and the others have no intention of hiding, in order to achieve their own goals, they do not hesitate to use themselves as bait. Like a brave warrior who sees death as his home. After the Astoria family stepped into the big pit prepared by Yan Luo and the others, under the excited gaze of the adventurers from the Dark faction, a violent explosion engulfed the entire nearby area. The flames of the explosion and the raised dust obscured everyone's sight. The smoothness of the plan made them feel that something was wrong. As the thick smoke dissipated, several figures stood unharmed in the big pit where they stood before. How can this be? The smiles of several Dark faction adventurers froze on their faces, and the fingers that pointed at each other trembled slightly. It shouldn't be. How could so many flame stones not hurt at all? TCH, you guys, do you really think we'd be so stupid as to walk into such an obvious trap like yours? Waste is indeed waste, even IQ. Kagaya taunted faintly, and the dismissive tone made the adventurers on the opposite side completely warm. Although the members of the Astria family looked down on the members of these dark factions, they still did their due vigilance well. The main reason is that there is a Layla in the family who is very familiar with explosives. It is really overthinking to attack them with the flame stone. The plan of this group of people was seen by them early on. I have long been on guard in my heart. However, no one has noticed right now. The previous serial explosions of the flame stones did not hurt the Astoria family, but the explosions shattered the 30th floor, and there were cracks and potholes everywhere on the ground. Even involving the upper and lower floors, a large number of cracks appeared on the ground, and a large piece of the ceiling on the 29th floor collapsed directly. The nearest upper and lower floors are like purgatory on Earth, and the successive roars before seemed to be the wailing sounds of the underground city. Oops, these guys really made a lot of trouble. Alfia, who had reached the 25th floor, looked up at the top of her head, and the shock that had subsided a lot here did not hide from her perception. That's enough nonsense. With a sigh of emotion, Alfia immediately quickened her pace. Hold on a little bit. After waiting slowly, it is estimated that the corpse is really going to be collected. After staying in the Hera family for such a long time, although she may not be the oldest, there should be few people in Olali who know more about dungeons than her. She knew very well what would happen if the dungeon was destroyed too much. That monster is not something the children of the Astria family can deal with. Even monsters born on the 30th floor. I remember it seems to be the 30th floor. I searched and someone said the 41st floor. I was confused, so I wrote it as the 30th floor. Chapter 62 Jagannath. At the top, while Alkaya was rapidly approaching this side, a roar of any kind of monster that did not belong to this floor appeared and reverberated on this floor. What? The next moment, under the eyes of everyone, a giant beast was slowly born from the rock wall of the ceiling. The opponent's body was as thin as a skeleton, and his blood-colored eyes burst out with an astonishing killing intent. Vertical Pupil glanced at everyone in the arena, kicked his powerful hind legs on the wall, and rushed towards Noin, the avant-garde of the Astria family, in an instant. Without even a slight reaction, Nuo Yin was still waiting for Jagnat to fall to the ground, and the next moment, the other party had already appeared in front of him. There wasn't even time to be surprised, Jagnat's long claws had already cut open the opponent's body. Avant-garde's solid body was as fragile as a piece of white paper at this time, and the armor and shield were completely unable to protect them, and were torn into several pieces by Jagnat in an instant. Blood spurted from the deep bone wound, and his consciousness became blurred. Noina A. Only now did she gradually realize what had happened. He could vaguely hear his family members calling his name in his ears. After 19 hits, Jagnat didn't stop at all, and immediately rushed towards Nais, the white-haired wolf girl who was closest to him. It doesn't matter who it is, Jagnat is like a one-hit assassin. In his eyes, Nais, who was enraged by the death of his companion, was full of flaws all over his body. A sound of breaking through the air passed by everyone's ears, and what the naked eye could see was a white light rushing towards the monster. It was a long sword, and the sharp blade was just right to force back Jagnat's surprise attack. The other party is a mysterious person wrapped in a cloak, and the tall figure makes people feel that the other party is a woman. Seems a bit late. It's not too bad though. Everyone's eyes shifted to the entrance of the cave, the mysterious man muttered softly, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The speed is simply faster than that monster. In an instant, the mysterious man ran hundreds of meters away and appeared beside Nuo Yin. The girl's eyes had lost color, and that blow seemed to have pierced the heart directly. Archaea squatted down, stretched out his hand to gently cover the opponent's eye sockets, and the majestic vitality poured into Nuo Yin's body. Ahima. Just when Elise didn't understand the meaning of Alphea's saving a sacrificed person, a weak cough broke into her ears. His expression instantly became pleasantly surprised, and he rushed to Nuo Yin's side in 3 steps at a time. The other party's face was pale, perhaps because of the excessive blood loss before, and he looked very weak. But as long as you're alive. When she saw Nuo Yin being instantly killed earlier, her heart almost stopped beating. As the head of the family, Alex loves this team more than anyone else. Thank you for your help. Please tell me your name. Our Astria family will definitely repay you with all our strength. If you have time to repay, it is better to see how to deal with that Jagnit. I just know. Come on, I'll be right next to you, looking forward to your performance. Althea didn't mean to reveal her identity, and Ari's feelings were useless to him. Saying this now is just to train these children of the Astria family. With her around, this Jagnit is a perfect fit for their Familia's experience points. Jagnit, who was born on the 30th floor, may not be used to fighting this monster for the first time, but it is definitely a very good target for actual combat. Generally LV4 is not his opponent at all, and even adventurers with higher levels are easy to overturn when they first meet Jagnit. Jagnit is a speed-specialized body, with an almost impenetrable destructive claw, and a shell that reflects magic. He will definitely suffer a loss in the first battle. Even Althea herself was the same when she faced Jagnot for the first time. In order to figure out what was going on with this guy, she fought with him for a long time. This guy is completely a glass fort, and there is no magic stone. Althea even thinks that this is the existence of the dungeon specially created to slaughter adventurers. And just during the brief communication between the two, Jagnit had slaughtered all the adventurers from the dark faction in the distance. This group of poor adventurers who don't even have LV4 are completely resistant to Jagnit. Soon, the ground beneath their feet was stained red with blood. Jagnat's mouth was chewing quickly, and there was the sound of bones being crushed in his mouth, thick blood left along the corners of his mouth. Gradually a pool of small puddles arose on the ground. After the big guys dealt with these remnants of the dark faction, they stood there and looked towards the Astria family. The terrifying speed that was completely inconsistent with the body was displayed again. This time Alex was prepared, but her eyes couldn't keep up with Jagnit's speed. Before she could react, Jagnot's huge body had already arrived at the position 000 behind her. This monster did not put the first target on Alice. Stepping on the wall like a gecko, he flicked his tail like a whip behind his back, and stabbed at Kagaya not far away. Kagaya had already assumed a counterattack posture in advance, slashing out with the taidao in his hand, but Jagnit still seized the opportunity. Changing stabbing to whipping, the tail whip landed heavily on Wujoy Wie's back with the sound of piercing through the air. The internal organs seemed to be in pain as if they were displaced, and the huge force caused her to fly upside down uncontrollably. The blood spewed out of the mouth was scattered all the way along the flight path. Fortunately, the walls in the pit were thick enough, and Kagaya did not fly far. Kagaya, you damna! Jagnit continued to attack the injured prey, but Liu, who was in the formation, couldn't hold back and rushed forward. Although she and Gojo-yi Kagaya have different ideas, and the two often quarrel, she can't do nothing to save her companion. Pull out the wooden knife on the side of the waist, and quickly read the chant while moving. In terms of proficiency in parallel singing, there are not many people in Olili who can surpass Liu. Of course, that is the late stage Liu, the current one is still a little rusty. But it is also very excellent, at least not called a genius. Chapter 63. As long as the chant text is short enough, there is no need for parallel chant. Even Alcoa nodded secretly, approving Liu's proficiency in parallel singing. She also has a great say in parallel singing. It's just that my magic chant is too short, so I don't need to use it very much. Alba thought of Versailles. It's not a good idea to use magic on Jagnot though. On the battlefield, Liu's chanting has been completed, and the bright wind of emerald green hits Ju and Nart from all directions. Although his brain is not very bright, Jagnit seems to know his abilities very well. When faced with magic attacks, he didn't even bother to hide. It was because of this guy's character that he didn't even act out a bit, and Alcoa didn't realize something was wrong when he fought it for the first time. It's a pity that at this moment, Liu was dazzled by anger, and when she saw her magic hit, she immediately rushed towards the opponent to make up for it. In the distance, the two defenders, Mage, also prepared their magic. The fireball and lightning rushed towards Jagnit at the same time, slowly melting together in the space, and their power was even higher. One after another, all the magic hit the shell of Jagnit's reflection magic. The magic shell composed of hexagons showed a color, different from the location of the magic attack, and layers of ripples rolled outwards. But there is no way to break through this barrier. Immediately afterwards, several magic spells were reflected back at a faster speed. Althea picked up the long sword at some point and stood between Jagnit and the guard mages. The reflected magic came to her first. Careful. While reminding loudly, Elise rushed forward, trying to help this mysterious person. Under her shocked gaze, Algaia slowly raised his hand, waved his long sword, and slashed at the terrifying magical energy. The moment the two came into contact, Yasher, who was approaching, seemed to hear what the mysterious man said. But the sound is too low, this situation is completely inaudible. But she saw. In Alicia's line of sight, the reflected magic was gradually wiped out by Alphea's knife. As if it never existed. Can swordsmanship still do this? Could it be that the knife has the effect of breaking demons? Although she couldn't figure it out, she couldn't help but relax in the current crisis-ridden situation. Liu, Liana, Celti, don't use magic now, Asta, you protect the back row, Kagaya follows me, and Maru pays attention to treating us. Elisa's thinking was very clear, and after realizing that magic had no effect on Jagnot, she quickly gave instructions to her companions. Several relatively low-level companions were arranged by her to the back row, and those who rushed forward were all LV4. Of course, she also played a trick. If she hid behind, Jagnot would have to pass the mysterious person if she wanted to attack them. So far, Elise still can't figure out the specific strength of that mysterious person. But there is one thing that is definitely better than Jagnot. And the other party seemed to have seen this kind of monster before, and it could be seen from her behavior from the beginning. The opponent was not hostile to them, and with this mysterious person there should be no need to worry about the safety of those teammates in the back row. The three of them rushed in front of Jagnith from three directions, their scarlet eyes made people tremble uncontrollably, and they could smell a strong smell of blood when they approached each other. It's all the blood of those dark faction adventurers before. Elisa's magic began to work, and burning flames covered her body and long sword. This kind of magic that acts directly on the body is not reflected by that troublesome shell. Jagnot seemed to understand this too, and the long tail behind him waved like a whip, cutting through the air and rushing towards Elise. A skilled slider. Elise made a dodge move before the opponent attacked. There is no way, who made her speed not keep up with Jagnot, she can only act in this way of predicting in advance. Obviously she succeeded, that powerful tail whip swung across her head, and Elise could even feel her hair being blown by the strong wind from the attack. The scalp hurts. But she had already rushed in front of Jagnot, and the burning sword in her hand pierced straight into the opponent's thin body. The flames burned in the opponent's body, and the magic reflecting shell lit up, but it couldn't take effect from within. On the other side, Liu also rushed forward, but Kagaya was much slower than the two teammates due to injuries. For the convenience of melee combat, Liu drew out her own small sword, Futaba, and when Jagnarth wanted to get up and get rid of Elise, he used the sword to directly nail the sole of his foot to the ground. Jagnat's movement was forced to stop, and the howl of pain spread throughout the entire space. Gojoy Kagaya joined the battlefield right after him, jumped into the sky suddenly, and threw the knife across the scarlet eyes. The continuous heavy injuries made Jagnat completely crazy, no longer caring about his own losses, and snapped off his claws that were stared at the ground, and Liu immediately pulled away to get rid of Jagnat's attack. After regaining his freedom, he quickly twisted his body again, and Elise could no longer hold the long sword in his hand, and was thrown flying by the inertia. For a while, the scene turned into a one-on-one fight between it and Gojo Yahuie. However, Jagnith, who was injured in both eyes, could not immediately determine the location of Gojo Kagaya. Realized that something was wrong, but it was too late for Lise to help. In the air, she doesn't even need to use force to adjust her position. Even though Liu wanted to help, her futaba was still staring at Li Liao Jiao on the ground, and the wooden knife could not pose a threat to Jagnot at all. Single quote dot. Let's call it a day, your performance barely passes. Quote. The familiar voice sounded again, and when he came back to his senses, the mysterious man had already appeared under Jagnot. Obviously she was still at the guard last second. Is this some kind of space magic patrol? Before she was shocked for a long time, Elise watched the mysterious man draw out his long sword. Kagaya reluctantly moved his gaze away, only to see the mysterious man pose in a pose that was almost engraved in her bones. That was the posture she used to draw a knife and cut. Why is she still posing like this? The next moment, the sharp knife light slashed across Jagnat's body. The opponent's indomitable momentum dissipated in an instant, as if the pause button had been pressed, it was frozen in the air for a moment. Chapter 64 Painful and Happy. Gojoy Kagaya seemed to realize something, and witnessed Jagnet's blood spraying from his entire waist, followed by his huge body turning into black smoke and dissipating in the air. They have fought so hard for so long, and the monster that was about to be downsized was so easily dealt with. Who is that mysterious man? How high is the opponent's level? LV6. Impossible. At the very least, it has to be an adventurer of LV7, and it cannot be LV7 of common. Even if someone tells her that the mysterious person is LV8, she will believe it. The battle ended a little hastily, and Elise was just about to step forward to thank her. The mysterious man seemed to have completed the task, put the knife into the sheath gracefully, and walked straight to the direction of the exit. He didn't intend to say hello to those members of the Astria family. Watching the other party leave the 30th floor, Elise turned around and returned to her companions. Maru has already given Gojoy Kagaya some treatment, and the other party's condition is much better at this time. However, his expression was a little dull, as if he was still immersed in the 400 cuts of Alfia's previous knife. Come back to your senses, Kagaya, how do you feel now? I'm fine, I'll just rest for a while. Gojoy Kagaya shook his head lightly. He also confirmed the status of the other companions, especially Nuo Yin, who was pulled back from the gate of hell. There is no need to stay on this floor with bad memories. In the family residence, Saul lay on his own long exclusive rocking chair as usual. Suddenly there was a breeze blowing behind him, followed by a shadow blocking some sunlight. How's the situation? He knew that Alfia had returned. There were some accidents in the middle, but there were no casualties, and there should be no problem with their status returning to the ground. That's enough, thank you for your hard work. As long as people don't die, everything else is a small problem. He has done so much to be worthy of the relationship between himself and Astoria. From this moment on, the fate of the Astria family has taken another path. The next point is to slowly cultivate newcomers in the family. BJAB, there are too many newcomers in his family now, and some of them have successfully upgraded to LV2. It's just that Saul didn't report to the guild, otherwise ICE's record of the fastest level up to LV2 would have been broken long ago. It was still broken by many people. The problem is that newcomers need to update their favors more frequently, especially for adventurers with excellent talents. Their attribute values AA increase quickly, so they must be updated frequently. And the Saul family is all this kind of genius rookie adventurer. This made him both painful and happy all the time. Or physical pain. I have to poke my finger more than a dozen times a day, and spend almost a day in the lounge, feeling like my fingertips are about to bleed out. My little fingers have endured the pressure that they shouldn't have to bear at this age, and the pads of 10 fingers feel like they are all needle holes. You must control the speed at which you summon heroes. Saul secretly made up his mind. Time flies, and several months later, the peaceful Olali gradually returned to normal life. The rebuilding work that was originally in full swing is gradually coming to an end. And the expansion of the Saul family has also been successfully completed, and it has become the family with the largest resident area of AA, the Orario family, in one go. Moreover, the emergence of many workshops and special buildings has attracted the attention of many people. If his house is not open to the outside world, Shendu, who is like a lot of street sneakers, would like to visit his house. Even so, occasionally members of the family can catch gods who want to climb the wall and sneak in. After Saul beat up a few times, the gods finally settled down a lot. Relatively, there are a lot more guys who come to test in the name of visiting. Perhaps if the curiosity of those gods is satisfied, they will no longer come to peep at their own secrets. But Saul doesn't like his house being patronized by so many people. If there are too many people coming, if anyone sees that the growth rate of his newcomers is not right, it will be even more troublesome at that time. Let the gods be curious. Except for the gods Astoria and Hephaestus, all of them were rejected by Saul. At that time, the residents of the Saul family seemed to have entered a closed state. Except for the members of the family members who come in and out, almost no one is received. Outsiders don't know what Saul's family is doing inside, but even Astria and the others are not sure what Saul is trying to trick. Isn't it just that there are more newcomers, and Stores also knows that there are a lot of workshops in the Sol family, and she can't figure out some equipment. I don't know where this guy has so many little people who are inventing. Said to be an invention, Hephaestus, as the god of craftsmen, is quite interested, but Sol is not willing to reveal too much to her. With the development time Thor bought them, the heroes from Roland, VA, grew up quickly. Among Roland's heroes, Lulu and Vigus are still the two with the highest level. Although she usually tends to be bad, Wei Gussie's talent is really a level beyond the others, and Lulu is simply summoned a little too early. However, Kled and Nar are catching up from behind, and their attribute values AA are catching up. They have already met the initial conditions for LV2 upgrade. That is, a certain attribute value has reached D. But they obviously won't be satisfied with this, and Sol is also unwilling to let his child with such a talent upgrade for the sake of upgrading. Each level must squeeze all its potential. Alfia now eats, sleeps and trains newcomers in the family every day, and strengthens their actual combat capabilities along the way. At present, the effect is not bad, at least the durability of the beaten ones has been improved a lot. Sol even suspects that they have tendencies and like to be beaten by women. In the process of constant adventures, the members of the family also formed several teams according to their own preferences. For example, Xiaopao, Timo, Rambo, and Lulu formed a 4-person team. On weekdays, the 4 little ones enter the dungeon together for adventure. To be on the safe side, before the team enters a new, unfamiliar floor, they will usually find an advanced adventurer to accompany them. Of course, there will be yordles like Datu who like scientific research, and they don't even bother to go out and take risks to upgrade. Chapter 65 Human Traffickers. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. After all, everything is developing according to Sol's expectations. After the end of the dark period, there is a period of calm development until the beginning of the plot. This period of time is destined to be very boring, but Sol doesn't feel lonely when he lives a life of wearing clothes, reaching out for food and opening his mouth, with so many people around him. At least it is much better than in heaven, and there are more entertainment activities. Just wait a few years. I have waited for hundreds of years, and I still care about these things. Moreover, he would occasionally go to Roland, VA, to monitor the work progress of the parallel consciousness. This is the same as visiting a new house that you are still renovating. It makes people happy to look at it. After a while, he might be able to travel directly to Roland with the children of the family. When Roland is more prosperous, you can even get rid of the dependence on the dungeon, and let your children go directly to Roland for training. In his own world, powerful monsters cannot be born. What Roland is not in charge of himself. At the same time, a human trafficker disguised as a powerful man sneaked into Orario. The dark faction on the bright side has been completely destroyed by the guild, but darkness itself cannot be completely wiped out. Behind the light, there will always be darkness. It's just that Olali now has a few very responsible and righteous family members who have driven the darkness to the gloomy corners that ordinary people can't see. At the entrance of the guild, 2 women walked out leisurely with the changed Farleys in their hands, under the admiring gaze of many men. It is a temporary team formed by Aurelia and Ari. Although the 2 of them were not summoned for a long time, they were also upgraded to LV2 a few days ago. The main reason is that Aurelia is more diligent, and Ali, who has a better relationship with her, is also forced to work hard. It's like making good friends with Shueba and being taken to study together. The team of the 2 is a little thin, and they are planning to bring Akali into the team recently, so it is convenient to explore deeper. Walking through the most prosperous food street in Olali, the 2 suddenly had a lot of food in their hands. I work so hard to make money every day, how can I not spend it quickly? What's the matter, Ari? On the way back to the family's residence, Ari seemed to have been summoned, and looked up into the distance suspiciously. It was a dark alley, and it was impossible to see the interior clearly at a glance. It used to be a treasure place where dark factions gathered, even now ordinary people would not easily approach this kind of place. It is like the rejection of darkness in the nature of life. There seems to be something there, wait for me, find it there and have a look. Wait for me, I'll go with you. Aurelia hurriedly grabbed the opponent, and trotted after her. It's not appropriate to let Ari act alone, what if he meets a few men who are attracted to him? Who makes Ari so charming, especially the other party's ability to charm, which is simply a lethal weapon for those stinky men. The two women walked quickly into the dark alley, and Ali ran ahead to lead the way. As they walked further and further away, the feeling of being called in her heart became more and more obvious. A dim light appeared in front of him, which was still very conspicuous in the dark environment. Ari carefully leaned over to the door. The wooden door obviously didn't have any sound insulation effect. The things have been brought. Let's go to Happy Street tonight. I have been holding back for a long time. What the hell, you have to spend the money you make on the spot. It doesn't matter, the ones caught this time are high quality goods, and they can definitely make a lot of money. The filthy conversation in the room made Ari no longer want to eavesdrop. Aurelia, who was behind her, opened a few small openings on the wooden door with a small sharp knife, and the two girls could immediately see the situation inside the house. Sure enough, these little mice are the ones living in this dark corner. Ari followed his perception, and soon found a yellow-haired fox in the corner. Amount, female. The other party looked young and looked like a rich girl in the clothes she was wearing. Her petite body was curled up in a corner and trembling. Where was this kidnapped from? According to Riveria, fox girls are very rare in this world, and they are only distributed in the Far East. Asking for flowers. It is impossible for such a young child to run over by himself, so the result seems to be obvious. With some calculations in her mind, Aurelia kicked open the somewhat old broken wooden door before Ari started to act. The human traffickers in the room were stunned, only to see a heroic woman suddenly barging in. Dozens of blades surround the opponent, and the flickering cold light seems to tell the sharpness of these blades. Hey, wait for me, Aurelia. Aurelia acted so recklessly. She was planning to find a chance to charm a human trafficker and deal with these people slowly. But don't think about it now. 0. Another foxman. How is it possible? Is it from the Thor tribe? After this period of development, even Riveria has tried her best to keep a low profile. But the energetic newcomer still caused a lot of commotion in Orario, and naturally, the Saul family was completely exposed to the vision of many families. This group of people are adventuring in the dungeon every day, and it is impossible to be noticed, and they all have special skills, which looks extraordinary. And Ari is different from others, her strength is equally powerful, but it is not her strength that attracts her most. There are not many foxes in Orario, and because of his charm, Ari's reputation in Orario even exceeds that of many advanced adventurers. It was not the first time for these traffickers to come to Olali, so they had heard about the Saul family. Obviously there were only 2 women standing in front of them, but they had no intention of fighting and only thought about escaping. However, Ari followed and stood behind Aurelia, vaguely blocking the door, sealing off the escape passage of these traffickers. The movement at the gate successfully attracted Chunji's attention, and her little head buried in her knees quietly lifted up, watching the situation at the gate timidly. Until she discovered Ari's existence, her big fluffy white tail instantly attracted her attention. Such a beautiful fellow, and she has 9 tails. Maybe I can save the factory. Chapter 66 Chunji. Seeing her own clan, Chunji was secretly happy in her heart, and even the sadness in her eyes was much diluted. At the same time, Aurelia, who was already impatient, took the lead in taking action. The countless blades behind her quickly started to spin, and flew towards the group of traffickers under her control. Facing these life-threatening blades, the traffickers' team instantly fell into chaos. However, they didn't have any intention of resisting, they wanted to run wholeheartedly, at most they threw knives in front of them to resist. Aurelia hadn't even finished warming up, the fight was over. It can't even be called a fight. After the blade reached their necks, the group surrendered without any hesitation. The development of the matter was smoother than expected, and Aurelia also discovered that the 640 in this group of human traffickers even had no favors. No wonder it is so weak. It's all right, are you okay? Xiaojami. After solving the traffickers, Aurelia tied them up one by one, and then began to search for their ill-gotten gains. This is taught by Saul. After the battle, the loot must be looted. Ari came to Chunji and squatted down, reached out and rubbed the other's head lightly twice. Facing this clan, Chunji was obviously not that heavily guarded. Ari quickly figured out the origin of the other party. The other party was a rich girl who was slandered by a small human race and ate the sacrifice to the god, and was kicked out of the house by her father. After encountering danger on the way, he was abandoned by the little people, and finally was captured by robbers to Olili. Poor child, let's take her back to the family. Aurelia, who was collecting spoils in the distance, also heard about Chunji's life experience, and was very dissatisfied with that irresponsible father. Hasn't Lord Saul stopped recruiting people recently? It shouldn't be a big problem if the two of us go to ask for help, we can't let this child stay alone in Olili. Then it's decided, go back and ask Master Saul. The two of them had a quick conversation with Chunji behind their backs, and Chunji stared at them without blinking the whole time. Those innocent eyes were full of longing, like a child afraid of being left behind. So cute. So, you guys brought this kid back for me. Back at the family residence, Saul saw this young ground dog, one of the 3 wall hangings, in the lounge. The other party stood obediently beside Ari, and looked timidly at Saul in front of him. It seemed that only Ari could make Chunji feel safe at the moment. I don't know where she saw the majesty of Saul. Saul's current mood is completely different from the calm expression on his face. Excited heart, fighting hands. If it wasn't for keeping a good impression in front of little Lolita, he couldn't help but want to cheer twice. What do you mean by unintentionally inserting willows and willows into shades? Originally, I was a little disappointed when I missed Amide Saul, but I didn't find Chunji, so I just sent it to my door. Speaking of the 3 cheats, Amd is the least important to Saul. After all, among Valoran's heroes, there are not a few who have the ability to heal, and Riveria herself can also heal magic. Ahmed's substitutability is high. But Kashan Della and Chunji are different, a magic mallet and a prophetic dream, these two are different. Improving one level directly, this ability is really important for families with top adventurers. Saul can't help but salivate when he thinks of Alcoa at LV9 or Riveria at LV8. It can be said that Chunji raised the upper limit of her family by a single step. In the future, the other party will be able to master another cheat, Jojong, and her importance will be raised to another level by then. Saul only knew that Chunji was brought to Olili by robbers, but Olili had so many human traffickers that it was unrealistic to find out all of them. So from the very beginning, he just made people stare at the Yesida family on Happy Street, and waited for the fish to enter the net by itself. They didn't find Ari and they went out casually, but they brought them back just like that. It saved me the trouble of going to the Yista family to rob people. Kashan Della should be coming to Olili soon, these 2 cheats must be in your hands. Master Saul, please allow me to join your family. Chunji is so cute, Lord Saul will definitely let you join the family. Right, Lord Saul. Chunji's voice was as subtle as a mosquito, and Saul was so distracted that he didn't pay attention to hear it clearly. Fortunately, Ari, who was by her side, repeated it again. Of course, Chunji, you will be a member of our Saul family from now on, and this is your home. Saul gently rubbed Chunji's little head, his handsome face made him look very friendly. As long as Saul is willing to get serious, he still looks a lot like that. Chunji's face was slightly red, and the tail on her back wagged involuntarily, revealing her thoughts all at once. Then, let me add favors to you, so that you will truly become a member of the Saul family. Excuse me. Chunji knelt down on the bed respectfully, and it could be seen that her upbringing was indeed very rigid. No mistakes can be found in every move, but Saul, who has always been free and used to it, doesn't like this kind of rules and regulations. But this small problem will be fined in the future, and this kind of well-behaved child should be in line with Riveria's wishes. Riveria, who was dealing with things in the guild, felt a chill, as if she was being targeted by something dirty. Are you alright, Lord Riveria? Well, it's nothing, you continue to talk. This time Set and the others used the monster riots created by killer ants in the dungeon, we should stop doing such things in the future. After all, there are many low-level adventurers in the upper class, and accidents are prone to occur. Quote. Sorry, I will tell them well when I go back. Riveria suppressed her anger. This group of guys who can only cause trouble, thanks to them, the number of times I have come to the guild has soared. Although the strength of these people has also grown rapidly as they continue to cause trouble, she still feels that this tone cannot be tolerated. You have to practice well with them when you go back. Chapter 67 The 3 Great Mistakes. A Sanjo Wild Haruhimea. LV1. Strength. 10. Durability. EO. Dexterity. 10. Agility. EO. Mana. 10. A Magica. Marble Mallet. Level Sublimation, Level Boost. The launch target is limited to one person. After starting, it must wait for a period of time before it can be used again. Has no effect on the warlock himself. A Skilla. Wonderful Fox Art, The Algae Girl's Law. Magic Effect Boost. Increased efficiency of mind consumption. Come, Lippy Hammer appears. Simple and clear skill introduction, boring level boost. Even though I knew Chun-Ji's ability in advance, I was still worried about some accidents, but now I am completely relieved. Chun-Ji, you are amazing. You will definitely be an excellent support in the future. Thanks for your compliment, I will work hard, Sir Saul. Soul's praise undoubtedly made Chun-Ji happy, and her ears and tail were quietly showing her master's mood. From childhood to adulthood, my life in my memory has always been so boring at 19, except for the strict teachings of my father and teachers, there is almost no color. I have never heard anyone praise themselves so bluntly. And this is still a god, so he must be a more powerful character than his father and teacher combined. Ali, this child will live with you for the time being, you should take care of him. Saul patted Ari on the head, the two vixens should have something in common. The main reason is that Chun-Ji is really introverted, and having someone familiar with her by her side can also help her get used to life in the family quickly. As night approached, Riveria, who was full of exhaustion, returned to the family, and immediately came to Saul to report the situation. It's a report, it's more like complaining to Saul about Set and the others. This time, I used the characteristics of the killer ants to let many killer ants scream at the same time to summon their companions. Last time, several times the dose of monster incense was used, and hundreds of monsters gathered on the 11th floor. The road from the 10th floor to the 11th floor was almost blocked, and some adventurers who had just entered this floor almost left a psychological shadow. As the saying goes, no harm without contrast. After taking over Set and the others, Riveria felt that those yordles were so cute for the first time. Even Kled likes to charge forward, at least they won't cause so much trouble. However, Saul predicted Riveria's actions, and immediately after the other party entered the room, Saul told the other party about Chun-Ji. Of course, he had also obtained Chun-Ji's consent in advance for this kind of thing. The little guy still doesn't seem to understand what his magic represents, Saul can only make Ari pay more attention to him on weekdays. At the very least, this magic should be kept a secret, and it cannot be mentioned to people outside the clan. Saul also specially locked Chun-Ji's ability value. What did you say? Level boost. Riveria instantly regained her spirits, blinking her eyes, as if she didn't quite believe what she heard. She is no stranger to level up. It's just an upgrade. However, how can there be magic that makes people upgrade? Even if it is a temporary upgrade, isn't this a bit too much? Think about two villages of the same level fighting together, and the fighting side is given a buff, and suddenly it is one level higher than you. What else is this? In the world of ground faults, level is very important, and it is almost impossible for a low-level electrician to defeat a high-level existence. Even when Bell was in LV2, he was beaten up by Hyacinthus when he met for the first time. Of course, super perverts like Althea and Chardo are not counted, they are monsters who leapfrog fights. There really is such a magic, and such an excellent child is actually delivered to the door by himself. Hey, of course it's because the charm of the Lord God is high enough, this kind of kid is still not enough for me to wave. Damn, it was pretended by him. Being so distracted, Riveria even forgot to complain to Saul about Seti and the others. Leave this child to me when the time comes, and I will take her personally. Riveria rarely made this request on her own initiative. The importance of Chun-Ji caught her heart, and the character of the fox girl should not be too outrageous. Hope it's not too far-fetched. Don't worry, she's a good kid, but she's a bit introverted, you may need to spend more time communicating with her. I see. It's good to be introverted. Introverted people are at least quieter and won't cause any major troubles for her. Perhaps. At this moment, the door of the lounge was knocked again. This lounge of mine seems to be very lively today, is there any good news? Come in. The first thing that appeared in the sight of the two was a big head, followed by a body about the size of the head staggering in. The person who came was Heimerdinger. Since he was expected by Saul to come, This scientific researcher plunged into the workshop that Saul had prepared in advance. Similar to some heroes, Thor can't see each other at all. They even eat and sleep in that workshop, and most of the other Yordles who are engaged in scientific research are like this. For this reason, Dian Wei Lia even arranged for someone to be a waiter. I was afraid that the two of them would starve to death in the workshop one day. Riveria doesn't understand Heimerdinger's science, but Saul seems to understand it very well, and she has also seen the power of the bomb made by Ziggs with her own eyes. It is very strong, its power surpasses that of flame stone, and it is more convenient to use than flame stone. However, if you want to sell such dangerous things, you need to report to the guild, which is still in the review process. At that time, it will become another source of income for the family. With more inventions like this, even if your family doesn't go to the dungeon in the future, you won't have to worry about Farley. It's just that the investment is a little bit big, and the family members are almost tightening their belts to live. Master Saul, I need to update the favor. Heimerdinger went straight to the point. People who engage in scientific research don't seem to like wasting a lot of time on useless communication. Saul really doesn't care about these etiquettes. Moreover, he prefers to chat with cute girls. Have you ventured into the dungeon recently? It seems like the last update for Heimerdinger's favors was a week ago. Unlike other heroes, Heimerdinger seldom goes out, does not take risks and grows very slowly, and there is no need to update favors every day. He will take the initiative to come to him to renew Enwei. It's true that the sun is coming out from the west. Thanks to a brother whose name is a number for a rewards. Can't send out the numbers. Chapter 68 Development Ability, Mystery. Have you ventured into the dungeon recently? Saul asked casually. I have entered twice, and I just came back from the dungeon with Keenan and the others not long ago. I used a young dragon to test my newly made fort in the dungeon. You didn't make any trouble, did you? Riveria, who was originally just an audience, interjected reflexively. Set's behavior has made her a little nervous. Now her scalp tingles when she hears about the experiment in the dungeon. Relax, I have controlled everything within a reasonable range. Heimerdinger's words are still concise, but it makes people believe in the other party involuntarily. At least it makes people feel that he is reliable. Okay, let's update Enwei first to it can be upgraded. It seems that single-playing young dragons has satisfied the great cause of upgrading. Please help me upgrade directly. Heimerdinger still had a calm expression. Doesn't seem to be overwhelmed by the upgrade. Anyway, Heimerdinger himself is taking the scientific research route, and he doesn't insist on brushing all the attribute values AA to a high level, and upgrades if he can. A. Cecile B. Heimerdinger. LV2. Strength. 10. Durability. EO. Dexterity. 10. Agility. EO. Mana. 10. A Magica. Upgrade. A. Enhance the power of props. The next item used does not consume mana. A. Skilla. Technology Magic Affinity. A. When researching, think clearly. A. Enhance the power of props. Significantly improved agility. Heimerdinger's panel is not very good looking compared with others, but his skills in the game are almost all realized with the props he created. In other words, as long as he makes similar props in Olali, he will naturally master these skills by then. Just like Nar. It doesn't say on the favor panel, it doesn't mean you don't have this skill. Congratulations on your upgrade. What do you want to develop your ability? There are Magic Defense, Precision, and Mystery. Which one do you like? Do you have any recommendations? Precision and Mystery both sound good. Poor Magic Defense was ignored. Well, Mystery should be the rarest, and it may be good for your research. Then please help me choose Mystery. At the end of the update, Heimerdinger just glanced at his updated favor, and after greeting Saul and Riveria, he got up and returned to his workshop. This child has awakened the ability to develop mysterious. As the saying goes, those who are mysterious are big bosses or future big shots. There are only a handful of people in Olali who have the ability to develop mysteriously, and each of them is the treasure of each family. I didn't expect a mysterious boss to appear in my family. It seems that so much Farley invested in Heimerdinger before is meaningful. Well, don't worry, this is just the beginning, there will be more people awakening the mysterious in the future. Hope so. She is quite looking forward to the future that Saul told about. After seeing Heimerdinger's development ability, Saul began to use his brain again. Rivalia, pay attention to the magic books on the market recently, and buy them if there are any. If I remember correctly, Chunji's hatred has to be awakened by the magic book. However, the magic guide books are all rare goods, and only those who have the development ability of mystery and magic guide at the same time, and the adventurer level must be at least LV3, can make them. In the whole of Olali, there is no one who can write magic books on the bright side, and Firth who hides in the dark does not count. People don't know how to write magic books by hand. However, the family already has the mysterious development ability. As a genius among the Yordles, Heimerdinger's ability to awaken 10 demon bodies should not be difficult. It's just that this big guy who is full of research doesn't know how long it will take until the next upgrade, and if he doesn't practice magic, he won't be able to awaken the magic guide. Mage heroes such as Vigar, Lulu, Shindella, and Ari have already obtained the development ability of magic guide when they level up. However, the possibility of these people awakening to the mystery is not high, and it can be said that Lulu has the greatest hope. They really don't have much hands-on ability. Excellent mage does not necessarily mean that they have the ability to make magic books. The best example is Alcoa. Well, if you have an excellent talent and a specialization in the art, if there is no mystery, then there is no mystery. My Lord Saul, do you know the price of the magic book? The family doesn't have enough funds to buy this kind of thing. I know, so I just want you to pay attention first. Even if the members of the family are working hard during this time, the frequency of entering the dungeon for adventure is very high. But the problem is that there are many newcomers. If you don't go to the deep level and rely on the upper and middle level monsters, unless you encounter some rare materials, otherwise you really can't make much money. After all, adventure also has expenses, and the most expensive things are various potions and equipment. In the final analysis, the number of therapists is not enough, otherwise a lot of money can be saved. Fortunately, the members of my family basically don't equip magic swords, otherwise the expense would be even greater. Speaking of which, Bobby may have the opportunity to try to forge the magic sword, and she also has the development ability of forging after being promoted to LV2. Quote. By the way, what did Zig's bomb guild say? It's very powerful, but it's also very dangerous. If you want to sell it, you must go through an audit. Damn it, why don't those guys in the guild have such high demands on the magic sword? Saul complained angrily. Ziggs tried to add the powder of flame stone to the bomb, which really increased the power of his bomb a lot. The point is, the cost of the bomb produced in this way is much cheaper than the flame stone. The powder from a flame stone can make a lot of bombs. Absolutely a hit on the market. Although it is said that the bomb indiscriminately harms everyone nearby, but at the critical moment of endangering Li Nujiao's life, it is not much more cost-effective than the magic sword. What is the price of the magic sword, and what is the price of the bomb? The magic sword is more expensive than the flame stone. Okay, I guess it will pass the review soon. Shall we find a store in the Tower of Babel first? It's very necessary. When the time comes, we'll just find a bigger store, and we may be able to sell some other things in the future. I will pay attention, if not, I will buy a few more stores. Just do that, hurry up and use up the last bit of money, and save me from worrying about it every day. Alfia's private house money was running out after opening up the family's residence, and they planned to use the remaining money as a store opening fund from the beginning. Now that money can be spent. Watching a sum of money not being able to spend every day is also a kind of torture. Just wait for Ziggs bombs to start selling, and then there will be a steady stream of money flowing into his pockets. Chapter 69 Monster Festival. Within a few days, the guild's approval for the bomb finally came down. Riveria has already found a suitable store, and bought 3 stores in one go, which are located on the upper, middle and lower floors of the Tower of Babel. Even if you come to another world, the house price is still too high. Especially in a place like the Tower of Babel, ordinary people can't afford the store price. Saul also never thought that he would become a god and come to another world, and he would have to take out a loan to buy a house. From the very beginning, Saul was not prepared to sell the bomb as a high-end product, so the shop was directly located on the lower floor, where the most low-level adventurers came. Even they can take out Farley who bought the bomb. The only consolation is that the shop in the Tower of Babel can open a shop directly, and there is no need for Saul and the others to waste time. Next, just wait patiently for the bomb to ferment among adventurers. On this day, Saul took Riveria for a leisurely stroll around the street. After being busy for such a long time, the other party was finally able to relax a little bit, and was pulled out by Saul for a date early in the morning. When passing by the entrance of the dungeon, I saw a long team slowly coming out of the dungeon. There are several huge cages in the opponent's team, in which various monsters from the upper and middle layers are locked. 903. The monsters were tightly restrained from top to bottom, and there was an animal trainer beside them, so they didn't make any trouble. The appearance of this team attracted a lot of attention. Seeing that the monster was not in danger, a large group of people gradually surrounded them from all directions. It seems that human beings are not the only ones who like to watch the excitement. Even Riveria pulled Saul to stop for a while. Is this a member of the Ganesha family? Riveria recognized several familiar faces in the team. Seeing this scene, she remembered the rumors she heard in the guild a few days ago, which seemed to say that the Ganesha family was planning to hold a monster festival. They also deliberately spent huge sums of money to build a place similar to the Colosseum. Is that place finished? It seems that the monster festival should be coming soon. How about we go to cheer for Ganesha? Seeing that Riveria seemed to be interested, Saul took the initiative to mention it. The monster sacrifice of the Ganesha family is not the key point. The main thing is that it will be like a celebration, and there will be a lot of things to eat and play. I think it's good. By the way, I can also bring that girl Chunji out. She hasn't been out much recently. Riveria is still thinking about the little fox in her heart. She has been with Chunji for a long time recently, and she has a little understanding of this so-called introversion. This is not introversion, that is psychological trauma. Unlike in the original plot, Chunji has been in the Yesida family for many years, and has Aisha, the big sister, to take care of her. Now Chunji is still a poor child who has been abandoned by her family, taken away by bad guys, and trafficked by human traffickers. The psychological shadow makes Chunji dare not leave this new home too far. The child was like a lost animal. In the first few days, Riveria couldn't even have a normal conversation with the other party. It was only under the coordination of Ari as an intermediary that the other party gradually opened up to her. Among the current family members, Ari, Saul and her are the only ones who can talk to her, and Aurelia can barely do it. Riveria is going to give Saul some work. Otherwise, he would spend all day at home doing nothing, which would make her really angry. Affect the drive of newcomers in the family. Chunji, that child really should go out and walk more often. He will get moldy if he stays at home every day. Are you really qualified to say such a thing? Riveria looked at Saul's righteous look strangely. Except for today, how long you haven't gone out really doesn't count. People are psychologically traumatized, and you are squatting in a dead house. The two continued to walk around the downtown area of Orario. Perhaps because of the monster festival, there were already many roadside stalls near the Colosseum of the Ganesha Familia, BJFG. Although it is not yet on a large scale, it is already much more lively than before. Sure enough, vendors have such a keen sense of smell. After having monsters, the preparation speed of the monster festival became much faster. Within 2 days, Ganesha announced the opening time of the first monster festival at a meeting of gods. Being able to hold a celebration is simply the best thing for a bunch of bored logicians. They are doing their best to promote each other. This also made the news spread throughout Olili in an instant. On the day when the monster festival really started, Saul brought Riveria and Haruki to the scene of the monster festival early in the morning. The entire alley was filled with crowds of people, and it was almost impossible to find a place to stay. Surrounded by cooking smoke in the sky, all kinds of aromas are mixed together, which makes people feel a little hungry. But this environment is a bit too exciting for Chunji. The little guy's height is limited. If she gets into the crowd, she probably won't be able to see her. It seems that this celebration is more lively than I imagined. Shall we go in? Wait a little longer, the people of the Ganesha family will definitely not look at this situation indifferently. Saul rejected Riveria's proposal without hesitation. In such a crowded place, what should a beautiful woman like Riveria do if someone sneaks in and takes advantage of her? This kind of crowded place, after entering, there is no chance of turning back. And Chun-ji was visibly relieved after hearing Sol's decision. She didn't want to enter this kind of place either. Don't want to. Riveria didn't object, and the three of them sat down outside in a restaurant in the distance. The outside is not necessarily much better than the field next to the monster festival. Obviously, there are many people pretending to be like Sol and the others. Within a few minutes after the three of them stood still, all the seats in the nearby restaurants were filled. Hey, Lord Sol, Lord Riveria. Are you also here to visit the monster festival? It didn't take long for the few people to stay in their positions, and Elise greeted them from a distance. Soon, Astoria appeared, and Sol invited the two women to sit with them. This child is also a newcomer to your family. I remember that there is a fox named Ari among your newcomers, right? That's right, this child was rescued by Ari, and she was abducted from the outside world to Olari by human traffickers. Damn human traffickers. We must pay them off when we go back. Calm down, Elise. Astoria tugged helplessly at the wrist of the head of her family, so don't be scared by the little guy opposite. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 70 The Amazon Sisters. You scared the kid. Astoria could tell that Chun-ji was flustered after they sat down. At this time, there was a commotion in the venue not far away, and the members of the Ganesha family began to clear the crowd, and the order quickly returned to normal. It seems that the counseling is almost done, we can set off. Then let's go shopping separately, and we'll see you later. Astoria saw Chun-ji's embarrassment, and she didn't need anyone to remind her, so she took Elise away first. The two quickly disappeared into the crowd of monster sacrifices. Let's go, two beautiful ladies, we are going to start our date today. Sol extended his hand politely. Riveria ignored Sol's hypocrisy, but Sister Chun beside her was still not used to the playboy course of her master god. On the other hand, Chun-ji was still hesitating whether to pass her hand over, but was pulled away by Riveria. Sol shrugged casually, and trotted 2 steps to catch up with the two. Walking into the venue, the first thing they felt was a thick smoke, and the smell of food being made in the nearby stalls was constantly tempting them. Chun-ji's progress slowed down. Want to eat some fried potato balls? Sol pointed to the fried potato balls stand not far away. Not bad. Of course, just tell me what you want to eat. Riveria added. Isn't the purpose of bringing Chun-ji out to make her a little more cheerful? As long as there is some change, eating something is nothing. After the fried potato balls were sold out, Chun-ji's mood became clearer, and it might be because she gradually got used to the environment here. At this time, cheers sounded in the Colosseum not far away. It seems that the Monster Festival has officially started, why don't you go and see it? Well, it's already here, it's a pity not to take a look. Suorto put on a thoughtful look, and seemed to be a little curious when he saw Chun-ji. Since both women were interested, Sol immediately agreed and accepted the proposal. Just as the three of them passed by a street food stall, 2 very recognizable voices not far away penetrated the noisy downtown and entered Sol's ears. Hey, Tion, look at that, let's go and taste that meat. The Monster Festival has already started, if you don't go, there will be no place. It's okay, let's buy it first and eat there. Tiona didn't listen to her sister's opinion, and rushed to a stall on her own. Really, my god. Ganesha, you are such a good person, half a monster can be sacrificed to him and there will be unexpected gains. What happened to those 2 Amazons? Riveria followed Thor's line of sight and noticed the 2 sisters Tion and Tiona. The 2 young Amazon women, judging from their well-proportioned muscles, should not be weak. But for the Sol family, it's just not bad, so what's worth paying special attention to? She knew Thor's eyes very well, it was the eyes that saw the prey wanting to take him into his pocket. It looks like 2 good seedlings, but we'll talk about it after we go back. I didn't expect to meet the sisters Diona and Dion when I came here. This is definitely a windfall. Speaking of which, these 2 sisters are also Olali who came around this time. The talent and strength of the 2 sisters are good, and he would be willing to cut them away from Loki if he had the chance. Isn't this a great time to undercut your competitors? There are only so many powerful adventurers in the Earth Fault world, as long as he pulls one more, other god, from his family, there will be 10 less. And the heroes of Valoran will be their own sooner or later, so there is no need to worry too much. He is eating what is in the bowl and looking at what is in the pot, and this bowl is even bigger than other people's pots. But there is no rush, these two sisters believe in the existence of force. If you want to recruit them, you must at least show your muscles. He brought people out to play today, so he didn't have time to waste on such things. A group of people walked straight into the Colosseum of the Ganesha family and found a seat in the last row. Although they are all upper and middle level monsters, the head-to-head battles in the arena make people excited. Master Saul, do you think it's Seti over there? Riveria didn't have much interest in this kind of brutal battle, so she began to observe the guests in the spectator seats to divert her attention. As if guided by some kind of force majeure, Riveria spotted the excited Set waving his fists in the crowd early in the morning. Ask for flower sa. It was like seeing some broom star. Most of the previous good mood dissipated in an instant. It just so happens that there is something I can ask him to do. Riveria, go talk to Seti. What do you want him to do? Didn't it say that something happened to Seti some time ago? Just let this guy go to meet Tion and the others, and see if there is no loss. If I remember correctly, those two sisters are now LV2, and LV3 should look similar to Seti. Let him establish a friendship first, and then there is a reason for him to recruit them. Understanding Soul's meaning, Riveria got up immediately, but at the end, she specifically told Set to bring the two sisters back to the family residence. Then let's go too. Seeing that you are not very interested in these things, let's go outside for a stroll. The two women around him couldn't appreciate this kind of fist-to-hand combat, and Saul himself didn't have much interest in the comparison. The group quickly reached an agreement and continued to enjoy the wonderful date. On the other side, Set, who walked out of the Colosseum, looked around for the two sisters Diona and Dion. This time, the monster festival was extremely powerful, and it was not easy to find out the two Amazon sisters among so many people. There are not a few Amazons in Olali, but they are still conspicuous. After all, they are young, and their black skin and cool clothes are easy to attract people's attention. In addition, Tiona and Tion are two sisters, and Riveria also told him some characteristics of the two. Finally, Set found his target in front of a barbecue stand. Hey, Amazon girl over there. Seti came to the two of them carelessly, and the doctor's attitude attracted Tion's eyes. Who is the girl? Do you want to find fault? Hey, I'm short-tempered, you little ones want a fight with me. Set clenched his fist tightly, and there was a crisp sound between his finger bones. Just now when they met, they acted as if they were unwilling to accept it, and the adventurers around gave way to the side with great insight. Inexplicably, there was a large open space in the originally crowded venue. Chapter 71 Black and Red are also red. Come with me if you dare. UB ************* D. Is my mother afraid of you? Dion's eyes were filled with anger, and the two sisters were killed from the Kali family. I have experienced life and death duels more than once, and there is a ferocity in my bones that is not afraid of death, and I don't have any fear of fighting or anything. When I was young, I was there with my old lady. If you have the guts, come with me, little girl, and I will take you to another place to fight. Set grinned, and Tion reacted rather angrily to him. Regardless of the other party's answer or not, he turned around and walked through an aisle that the crowd gave way to. But his speed is very slow, it seems that he intends to let the opponent catch up. The two sisters looked at each other tacitly. Tiona swallowed the food in her mouth forcefully, and quickly caught up with each other's footsteps. 263. And in the crowd watching the play next to them, a red-haired, squinting goddess witnessed everything. This is Loki, who came to the monster festival to join in the fun, and she had also taken a fancy to the pair of Amazon sisters. It's definitely not because the Amazon sisters' figure that is completely out of line with her age has attracted her full attention. Just when she was about to go up to invite them, unexpectedly, a man gave her a quick start. Can she bear it? My Loki family is also one of the twin kings in the current Olali, and someone unexpectedly cut off a beard on his head. That man seems to be a newcomer to the Saul family, his name is Set. The head of the little human race beside Loki frowned and thought for a moment. It's not that Set's strength is so strong that he deserves to remember his name specially, it's just that what happened to him not long ago was rumored in the guild. It can be regarded as an alternative famous Olali. Is Black and Red also red? This time, in order to support Ganesha, Luigi specially brought Finn to participate in the monster inspection. Originally, according to her personality, this kind of good opportunity should bring a female member out on a date together. That guy Sol, let's follow up and have a look. Sol's name only made Loki hesitate for a moment, but the temptation of the two sisters made her make a decision. Soon Seti returned to the family residence with a large crowd of people. The two sisters couldn't help but stop when they looked at the magnificent guild residence in front of them. Although Ri doesn't know Set, but it doesn't look like a common family here. What's the matter? Dare not come in. Little girla. You be asterisk 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 D. Just keep your mouth so hard now, mother will smash your stinky mouth in a while. Set obviously knew how to deal with this kind of woman very well, and with a simple sentence, he blew up Tion's temper. It doesn't matter whose resident is here, you have to walk in if you lift your legs. Tiona couldn't pull it back, but was brought in by her own sister instead. Due to the monster festival, there are not many people in the family, and those who are left are basically people who are not interested in the celebration. Yang En, who was guarding the gate, just raised his eyebrows and glanced at the two sisters, seeing that it was Seti who brought them back, he didn't stop him. However, when he found out that Loki, who was secretly trying to follow in, did not have this attitude, Yon immediately got up and blocked the door, and put his hands near the two sword hilts without a trace. This vigilant posture made Finn nervous. The killing intent on the opponent cannot be faked. If you take a step forward, the masked man in front of you will really do it. Don't get me wrong, we just want to visit Lord Sol. Finn stood up and explained. Master Sol and Lord Riveria went to the monster festival, if you want to visit, please come back later. Yang En's tone was indifferent, and he stared at this brave man of the little human race without blinking. He knew this short man, the leader of the Loki family, and a strong LV6. The current self should not be his opponent, but his current task is to guard the gate, so he cannot let any uninvited guests enter. You be asterisk 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 D, you really don't give us any face. Loki was so angry that he wanted to argue with Yang En, but it was Finn who pulled him back. This guy obviously has a character of being soft rather than hard, and if there is any more trouble, there will really be a conflict. This is the gate of the Sol family, and making trouble here is just slapping Sol's face back and forth. Finn doesn't want to have a bad relationship with the Sol family. Can we wait here? Anything you want. After taking a deep look at Finn, Yongan left a sentence coldly. At this time, the arena of the Thor family was built in response to Kret's request. Of course, it is not as spacious as the Colosseum of the Ganesha Familia, without the large circle of auditorium. Wow, there is such a big arena here, that's not bad. Tiona looked at this arena in surprise. Would ordinary families build such a place specially? After staying in the Kali family for so long, they are no strangers to the arena. Looking at the signs of damage everywhere in this arena, it is obvious that it is often used. Could it be that this family is also like the Kali family, who often fight to the death within the family? You should be newcomers to Olali, right? No wonder you don't know this place. Seti stood still in the center of the venue, crossed her hands on her chest and looked at the two women with pride. It's true that O'Leary has just arrived, but she's not a newcomer. It makes no difference, this is the residence of the Sol family. My uncle's name is Set. Let's start introducing myself now. I thought you would wait until I put your head on the ground before you will calm down. Tion snorted lightly, not overdoing it but not softening it. Tiona, who was beside her, looked at her sister who was already on top, and could only shake her head helplessly. Before she came to Orari, she had heard of the name of the Sol family, which is one of the largest families in Orari, and the leader of the family is Riveria, who is known as Orari's first magister. There are still a few LV5 masters in the 1.8 Familia, so they should not be much different from the Kali Familia they belonged to before. This is in line with the plan of the two sisters at the beginning. As two adventurers who came out of the big family, they didn't plan to find a random family member in Olali to join them. The head of my family noticed you before, so I asked my uncle to invite you two little girls. That's how your Sol family invites people. Guys like you can come to be lobbyists. It seems that this family is really useless. Little girl has a sharp mouth, are you going to ask me to use 8 sedan chairs to invite you in? See clearly, this is the tool I use to persuade people. While talking, Set clenched his sandbag-sized fist and showed Tion. Chapter 72 Concierge, Uncle Yang. He has already fulfilled Rivria's request, so it shouldn't matter if he takes this opportunity to make two moves with the little girl in front of him. Just let myself try the strength of these two girls. Sure enough, I have to beat you up, you B asterisk 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 D, or I won't be able to swallow this breath. Tion finally broke out completely, threw the weapon to her sister beside her, and rushed towards Seti waving her fists. If the opponent doesn't use a weapon, then she won't use it either. Well done. With a roar, Set put on a stance and charged Tion's fist with a punch. Neither of them had the slightest intention of backing down. Regardless of the young age of the two sisters, both Tiona and Tiona have been blessed since birth, and both are at LV3. Two fists, one big and one small, collided heavily. Tion's level had an advantage, and the first collision gained the upper hand. However, Seti has the blessing of battlefield pride, and he swings 19 left and right punches alternately and continuously. His rich combat experience makes him fully worthy of the opponent. Oh, not bad, you little girl still has some skills. The two distanced themselves, Tion shook his aching hands, and the fighting spirit in his body gradually burned. This guy named Set had harder fists than she had imagined. HMPH, people with no skills can't enter the Thor family. The pride in Set's body was surging, and the pain had been forgotten by him. The pair of fists touched their chests, and the gold halo transformed with pride converged on the pair of iron fists. Tion grinned excitedly, feeling the rising aura in Seti's body, and she no longer hid her strength, her eyes began to glow red. This is Tion's skill of indignation and chaos, which increases the attack power according to the degree of injury and anger. The two sides started a fist-to-body battle again, and Seti's combat experience was not weaker than Tion's at all, mainly because of the blessing of the power of others. After several attacks, he gradually fell into a disadvantage. Use this trick to decide the outcome, little girl, you need a good punch. Facing the disadvantage, Seti let out a dull roar. With a stride, Gold's arrogance poured out, turning into an invisible armor covering his body. Tion landed a punch on Set's face, but it didn't feel like hitting the flesh. The strength of the fist was completely offset by the shield transformed by Haoyi. The next second, Tion suddenly felt a palpitation, but it was too late to get rid of Seti. All the arrogance in Seti's body burst out in an instant, and the violent impact knocked Tion into the air. Tiona, who was in the distance, arrived in time, put her hands on Tion's back, and the two of them slid back a long distance before they managed to stabilize their figure. Ha ha, you little girl is quite resistant to beating. Ahem, are you only LV2? The previous collision was already a full-strength blow from the two, and now the two sides have calmed down somewhat. Tion breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the other party with a solemn expression. Her doubts were not unreasonable. If Seti was LV3, the power of the previous attack should directly injure herself severely. Even if the age gap between the two is not small, she still can't accept that she was defeated by LV2 leapfrog. Tion is not someone who can't afford to lose. In her opinion, when Tiona helps, it already represents her failure. Shame on an Amazon warrior. What's wrong with LV2? It won't affect me in the slightest to overthrow you. Obviously he was already at the end of his battle, but Seti still spoke unforgivingly. Fighting with all his strength made him feel comfortable now. Every muscle in the body seemed to be cheering. My uncle has been favored for a relatively short period of time, but you girl is even higher in level than me. It is still a bit level to make our boss look good. Huh, I will join this family, and I will kill you after I adjust my state. After seeing Set's strength, Dion's ability to accept the other party's arrogant attitude was much stronger, and she even admired Set's attitude. She doesn't dislike the strong, especially a warrior like Set who defeated her with bare hands. HMPH, you can't beat me this time, and you will never win me in this life. My old lady is much younger than you. When I am as old as you will definitely not be my opponent. Don't underestimate me, I will only get stronger and stronger. Seti held her head up proudly, so she would be fooled into the family by a little girl. When Rivria comes back, I'm so excited to reward myself. He must have overfulfilled the task. That being the case, go all out and take the other one down. Set, who had a successful experience, quickly turned his attention to Tiona who was next to Tion. What? In your current state, you still want to fight with me again? You look down on me. Tiona stared back angrily. Although she has the idea of joining the family with her sister, she still has to follow a formality. If Seti really said that she wanted to challenge herself in her current state, then she would definitely beat him up. That's totally looking down on yourself. 707 She doesn't think she will be weaker than her sister, your attitude is not acceptable. If you want to fight for me, you must first defeat me. What a troublesome girl, my uncle will find you an opponent. HMPH, ordinary people are not my opponents. HMPH, that guy's strength is very strong, you can choose a weapon here first. Set pointed to the weapon rack not far away, leaving the two of them at ease in the arena, and quickly ran towards the door. Originally, there weren't many people in the family today, except for those scientific research madmen, and within a short time, Seti could also think that it would be easier to find Uncle Yang-en, who was watching the gate. The others didn't know where they went, and he didn't dare to go into their backyard. Why did that fellow Althea live with Vigus? Set has been beaten by Althea for the past few days, and she doesn't even dare to be in the same room with him. Walking to the gate, Seti immediately noticed Loki and Finn guarding not far from the gate. Why did you come back alone? What about the two Amazon children you brought back earlier? Yang-en looked suspiciously at his teammates who walked straight into his post. Why is the task of guarding the gate so busy today? Chapter 73 Fangirl +1. I took them to the arena. Those two girls want to see the strength of our Saul family. I have already defeated the older sisters of the two sisters, and there is one left for you to deal with. What about the gate? Don't worry, whoever will come here at this time, just lock the door. There are two typical examples of unwillingness to leave outside the door. How do you know that no one is coming? Yang-en was a little undecided for a while. These two people were named by Riveria and asked me to join the family. I heard it was the boss's idea. Set is different from the others, he likes to call Saul the boss. But it's all harmless. Riveria took the time to correct it a few times at the beginning, but she gave up decisively when she saw that it didn't work. What does Master Saul mean? I see, I just need to defeat the sister in the Amazon, right? That's right, those two sisters should both be LV3, don't let your boat capsize in the gutter. LV3, that's quite talented. Thank you for your reminder, I will pay attention. You can watch the gate for me for a while. Yang-en took his weapon, glanced at Finn and the others outside the door, and then walked towards the arena. His speed was not fast, and by the time they arrived at the arena, Diona was already leaning on her sister's shoulder and almost fell asleep. Hearing footsteps, he opened his eyes in a daze. Yang-en, who was tall, had an outstanding temperament, and instantly attracted their attention. Tion could feel her sister beside her take a slight breath of cool air. That high cold and sinister temperament suddenly poked Tiona's heart. How could I just now notice that Olili still has such a handsome man, what a shame. That is to say, she is still young now, and an adult Amazon is already about to pounce on her. Whoever said that Amazon likes strong men, and Yang-en's handsome face is also very popular with them. Amazon women are also dogs. What a handsome uncle, how can I do it in a while? Diona was troubled in her heart. Let me introduce myself, my name is Yon, and I am a member of the Thor family like said before, so who is my opponent? I'm Diona, this is my sister Dion, hello, Uncle Yang-en. Perhaps because she was obsessed with Yang-en's beauty, Diona's tone was extraordinarily cheerful. It was two extremes when Tian talked to Set before. Yang-en nodded expressionlessly, not caring what the other party called him, and casually pulled out two training knives from the weapon rack beside him. Are you ready? I will try my best to avoid your vital points. Yang-en put on a posture and asked the other party softly. You can do it anytime, I won't show mercy just because you are good looking, unclear A. Just do your best. As soon as Yang-en's voice fell, he leaned close to Diona with a sliding step in an instant, and swung a sword aura from the bottom to the top with the long sword used for training. The speed of the opponent swinging the sword was too fast, Tiona only felt a blur in front of her eyes, and the tip of the sword had come to her. It was obvious that this attack hadn't really landed on her body, but the cold light reflected from the blade gave Tiona the illusion that her skin had been cut. Originally, she wanted to use the big sword in her hand to resist the attack, but her body backed off on its own. When she came to her senses, she had already opened a short distance from Yang-en. However, at least to avoid the attack. Sure enough, it is still careless. If he was injured in the first collision, then the harsh words he said before would be too embarrassing. Nice speed. Yonggan's eyebrows were raised slightly, and the muscles of the right hand holding the sword bulged, turning his body vigorously, and cleaving forward by virtue of inertia. It was another powerful slash. It was only then that Tiona noticed that the long sword in Yang En's hand seemed to be longer than normal. Rin Shen Zan brought up Scarlet's sword light, and hit his abdomen straight. Yang En used the back of the knife to slash, otherwise Tiona would have been disemboweled by this blow. Tiona took 2 steps back uncontrollably, swung the round sword with both hands and slashed at Yang En. She thought it was an inevitable blow, but following Tiona, she found that the opponent's wrist was flipped, and the abrupt blade of another long sword appeared above her head. The blade blocked her head-on blow, and realizing that she had a slight advantage in strength, Tiona made up her mind. Trying my best to stabilize my figure, my arms continued to exert force, trying to press the man in front of me directly to the ground. However, Yang En, who has rich combat experience, will not let the opponent do what he wants. And he has 2 long swords. His right hand quickly retracted, giving full play to the flexibility of his body to avoid the attack, and in the blink of an eye, he made another wrong strike. This time, he did not keep his hand, and the tip of the sword pointed directly at the opponent's throat. Tiona's reaction speed was already very fast. Even though she tried her best to lean back, the tip of the long sword was still rapidly enlarged in her pupils. The next moment, it was in front of it, and it almost stopped at the position close to the throat. It was only then that Tiona truly realized the horror of Yang En's swordsmanship. As long as he stretched a little further, the result would be completely different. She seemed to be able to feel the chill on the tip of the sword, and she didn't dare to move her body, for fear of making a mistake and bidding farewell to this world in advance. Let's stop here, I think it's enough. Yang En didn't say much, and put the sword into its sheath gracefully, completely unaware of the change in the expression of the girl in front of him. Mr. Yonggana, when I join the family, can I ask you to be my master? I also want to learn this handsome swordsmanship. Yonggan was about to leave, but Leona quickly stood in front of him. The expression, Li Lizao, is like a fanatical fan seeing an idol, and this feeling makes Tion, who is not far away, feel strange. Does my own sister have this kind of hidden attribute? My sword skills may not be suitable for you. My suggestion is that you can try heavy weapons. Yang En still had that lukewarm attitude, but thinking that the other party might become the new companion of the family, he still patiently explained. This is the true character of Yang En. Unlike his younger brother Yasuo, Yang En is steady and self-disciplined, but after being invaded by the power of demons, he has become much more ruthless. But he is still the last person Riveria needs to worry about. But I also want to be like you. While talking, Tiona also imitated Yang En's previous gestures. The whole person was filled with enthusiasm, which made Yonggan look sideways. Thanks to wishing for the tip. Chapter 74, The Two Sisters Who Are in Love. If you really have this idea, I can teach you after you join the Familia. Originally, his swordsmanship was taught in the swordsmanship dojo in Ionia, and there were no restrictions such as not being able to pass it on to others. Since the child in front of him really wants to learn, he doesn't mind teaching him. Anyway, she's still young, so she'll just change it back after she finds it's not suitable. Just take the time to understand swordsmanship, and you will have confidence in meeting similar enemies in the future. Great. Thank you, master. I didn't promise to be your master. Hey, you promised to call me swordsmanship, what is it if it's not a master? Tiona followed Yang En's side indifferently, not intending to leave at all. Forget it, call it whatever you want. Yang En gave up thinking. He was obviously not very good at dealing with such enthusiastic children. As for Tion, who was watching the battle not far away, it seemed that his sister had already forgotten her. Why am I acting like an outsider? When Yonggan returned to his job, Seti looked suspiciously at the little girl who followed him every step of the way. After a while, 197 Kung Fu disappeared. Why is this flat-chested girl so attached to this ice cube man? What's going on here? Did he miss some wonderful plot? What did you do to this child? He shouldn't be wasting his time looking at this broken gate here. You got the little girl. What does it mean to be cheated? You guys really don't like what you say. Before Yongan could explain, Tiona on the side was ignited like a powder keg. The stupid Seti is confused, why is there such a big difference in the treatment of the two of them? Is this Ice Cube man really so attractive? He was captured by a little girl in just over half an hour. It's just 2 tricks, and then it's like this. Perhaps in order to save his image, Yong'en still simply explained. Is it really just 2 tricks? Yon chose to ignore Set's joke and walked straight past him. The previous explanation is already his greatest sincerity. Tiona and Tion hurriedly followed. Although it has been decided BJFB to join this family, it is still an unfamiliar environment for them, and having an acquaintance next to them can make them feel at ease. Compared with Set, the aloof Yong'en is a better choice. Is it really not necessary for me to take you to the family resident? Then I have to go. HMPH, I want to go shopping with my master. Diona stuck out her tongue at the other party mischievously. During the time they spent together, Yong'en briefly introduced the situation of the family members to them. After getting acquainted with each other gradually, Diona's cheerful personality gradually revealed. As dusk approached, the family members gradually became lively, and the members who had gone out to visit the monster festival returned in droves. But the 2 sisters who accompanied Yong'en to guard the gate took this opportunity to recognize most of the family members. Yong'en introduced a few words to the 2 of them from time to time, and a few people came in to say hello curiously when they found the strange figure in the office of the guard. After a simple experience of more than an hour, the 2 sisters can feel that this is a free and casual family. It perfectly met their expectations, and was even better than expected. This place has come to the right place. That guy Set did a good job. Finally, before the sky was about to darken, the figure of Master Saul appeared at the end of the road. Loki's legs were going numb after waiting all afternoon. Seeing Saul was even more exciting than seeing a beautiful woman. Saul pretended not to see Loki, who was standing in the way, and grabbed the 2 girls beside him to speed up his pace. Hey! We've been waiting for so long, and you still pretend not to see it. Loki shouted angrily. The opponent was closer to the door than himself, and the sun suddenly blocked Saul's way forward. Now I can't pretend to be invisible. It's so troublesome. I don't remember that I invited you. What are you doing at my door? Thor looked at Loki impatiently. It's not that your child didn't know how to change things at all, so he stopped us outside. What's the problem? Is my uncle's house a tourist attraction, and I have to ask you to visit it together? Tisk, the 2 children we were looking at were abducted by your children, we are here to pick them up. So, don't you think that all the adventurers you like have to go to your house? When will my uncle's family recruit people through your squinting eyes? Hearing what Loki said to Thor, he knew that the other party was referring to the sisters Diona and Dione, and Thor turned back without hesitation. Unexpectedly, Loki also targeted the 2 sisters at the monster festival. Fortunately, he was quick enough, otherwise the 2 would have been deceived by the other party. Now it seems that Set succeeded in bringing those 2 back. As long as they enter the gate of his family, let alone Loki, Freya should not be taken away by them when they come. You be ************ D. You are obviously the child we have our eyes on first, so it is really reasonable to cut you halfway. TCH, I said I was the one who set my sights on it first. Even if someone is willing to join my family, it can only be said that my charm is higher than that of you, a dead flat chest. Damn it. You obviously didn't show up, but you still have the nerve to say that you were the one you set your eyes on first. Isn't that my family, excellent? There is no need for me, the main god, to step in, and the child of excellent will come by himself. Saul had a proud little expression on his face, and Loki was so angry that he hopped his feet. This guy even scolded himself for being flat-chested. How dare he be so ugly? However, it is obviously impossible to make Saul spit out the meat he ate in his stomach just by entanglement. Okay, if it's okay, I'm going to go back. I'm very tired after walking around the monster festival all day today. While speaking, Saul put his arm on Chunji's shoulder. The forearm hangs down naturally, swinging back and forth on the top of the majestic mountain. LSP Loki's eyes immediately followed the movement of Thor's arm. Who is this fox girl? Where did you get so many cute children from? Loki yelled in dismay. This kid looks very talented at first glance. At such a young age, I have already surpassed myself in the charm of women, and the future will definitely have a lot of history. The sweet looks paired with that weak expression perfectly fit all my preferences. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 75 Sister Swap. Looking at Haruhime, who was growing according to her XP, Loki's body trembled with excitement. Although her XP is very extensive. Additionally, the rare race generally represents powerful talents. This is the advantage brought by the race, and the Fox Girl, a race that only exists in the extreme east, has only seen it twice since she was in the lower realm. Last time it was Ali from Soul's family. Thinking about it makes me want to cry. Good children belong to other people, and that Ali is also very fragrant. She almost couldn't hold back when she saw the other party coming back with another heroic person before. That is, being stopped by Finn. Thinking about it this way, there are so many beautiful girls in Soul's family. Mao estimated that there were more than her family. But don't forget that there are so many beautiful elves. Damn, the more I think about it, the more uncomfortable it becomes. She must take those two Amazon sisters. Otherwise, Olili's beautiful women will all be snatched away by him. Don't stare at my Chunji, this child is my baby, I warn you not to think of her. HMPH, you guys don't change the subject there, I want to tell you about the two Amazon sisters this time. It's troublesome, so let's ask others what they think, so that you don't have to bother me every day. Saul scratched his hair helplessly, and waved to the gatekeeper, Uncle Yang, who was standing quietly not far away. Yon, who had been paying attention to them, came over immediately. The Amazon sisters hesitated for a moment, and after seeing Saul nodding to them, they quickly caught up with Yon. Yang En, this kid can do it, and he will teach these two Amazon girls to be submissive in one afternoon. It seems that in the future, the job of attracting people can let the other party try more, especially Amazon, the effect of the beauty trick is so good. Why is the personality of the high cold male god so popular? If you have a chance, you can try to change your style. Master Saul. Yang En respectfully stood one step behind Saul and saluted, and followed the two Amazons behind him to learn how to do it. The two sisters still respect the gods very much. We will be a family from now on, so you don't have to be so polite. It's this squint-eyed person who asked you to come here and wants to say a few words to you. Saul pointed to Loki impatiently, as if looking at something dirty. Originally, he wanted to describe it as a washboard, but he was afraid of accidentally hurting Diona, so he forgot it. Tiona, you are so gentle, I cried to death. During the monster festival, our main god planned to invite you to join our family, but we didn't expect to be a step too late, we are the Loki family. This time it was Finn who spoke. When Loki and Thor quarreled, he and Riveria kept silent tacitly. Just watch the play quietly, and resolutely don't get involved. But seeing that he was about to recruit members, he still took the initiative to take over the conversation. Needless to say, we have already agreed to join the Saul family. Without giving Finn a chance to finish speaking, Tion directly refused. Tiona just pretended to be obedient and stayed behind Yongan and nodded in affirmation. Tion, who is supposed to admire Finn, turned her down so firmly, and Saul watched with inexplicable NTR pleasure. And Diona's state seems to be a little bit wrong. In the original plot, it seems that Dion is the brain of love. Are these two people changed? Or is it that the two sisters originally had the love brain gene, but this time it was Diona's gene that was activated? According to the development of the original plot, the opponent should be defeated by Ja Reese and then join the Loki family. Sure enough, a rough dwarf like Ja Reese does not conform to Diona's aesthetics. I declare this victory belongs to Yango. Finn sighed helplessly, but didn't bother too much. Originally, the two stayed in the Saul family for an afternoon, and it was very natural to see them get along with Yongan earlier. From all perspectives, their hopes are already very slim. It will be even more useless to make Loki's open-mouthed invitation. Even if Saul gave them a chance to communicate, he was sure that they had nothing to sing. Let's go back. I'm sorry, Master Saul, for causing you trouble this time. It's okay, I just hope you can keep a close eye on Loki next time, and don't let her go to my house again. Saul triumphantly admired Loki's defeated dog. I will try my best, but we will not restrict God's actions. HMPH, just do your best. Damn. Remember me, you guy. We won't let it go. Loki, who didn't get a good deal, took revenge severely. But it seems that there is no good way to take Saul, the other party is not afraid of him at all. That guy Saul, quietly managing the family is very good. While turning around, the angry expression on Loki's face disappeared instantly. The person who was still powerless and furious in front of Saul before seemed to be not himself. She didn't just spend the afternoon looking at beauties at the door. Loki observed the members of the Thor family coming in and out, and many of them were new faces she saw for the first time. Although they are all novice adventurers registered in the guild by the Saul family, the aura of each of them does not seem to be the existence of LV1. 0. Finn beside her also affirmed her guess. These people are not young, perhaps they have just received favors, but they already have a wealth of combat experience. Their growth rate will be amazing, they just need to gradually digest their past experience. It is a favorite in any family. Where did that guy Saul find so many? Obviously Saul didn't put much effort into recruiting newcomers. Did he discover a new continent that had never been explored before? Loki just felt confused, but this did not affect her stepping forward to stop Saul. She still wants to fight for those two Amazon sisters. The huge talent pool of the Saul family made her feel a sense of crisis, and she also had to recruit more excellent seedlings. I heard that the head of the Vader Familia has quit the Familia recently, so she has to act quickly to get them in. Haha, you guys are doing very well. That guy Loki still wants to poach someone from me, dreaming. Watching Loki being pulled away by Finn, Thor laughed heartily. The laughter could be heard clearly by Loki in the distance. It almost blew up Rocky's temper again. Okay, you two come with me, I will add favors to you first. After choking on Loki, and cutting off two high-end fighters in the opponent's family, Saul only felt that his mood was particularly beautiful. Chapter 76. A little surprise. Satisfied, he watched Loki leave, but Thor hadn't forgotten the business. It is necessary to renew the grace to these two Amazons first, so that his beard cutting can be considered truly completed. It is still the familiar lounge, the familiar silver needle, and the one lying on the bed is my sister Dion. You were members of the Kali family before, how is that guy doing now? Looking at the family crest on the back of Tion, Saul casually chatted with him. That Kali guy is the same as Ares, both of them are family members established on a national basis. However, the Kali family is much stronger than the Ares family. The Kali family is all composed of Amazons, and there are two LV6 top adventurers in the family. Coincidentally, those two LV6s are also sisters. That's right, Master Saul, do you know Master Li from 140? Of course, that black-skinned loli with the same figure as Loki, it's hard not to remember. What is the name of the black-skinned loli who has the same figure as Rocky? Although the introduction was very vivid, Tiona still felt as if she had been insulted when she looked down at the back of her feet. It seems that it is rare for Amazon to have the same figure as himself. Damn it, it must be because that guy from Dion robbed her of all her nutrition when she was born. While on the bed, Saul dripped his own blood on Tion's back, and the coat of arms that originally belonged to the Kali family gradually melted away and gradually condensed into his own logo. Transferring will not affect the original favor of the adventurer, but after the update, it is still LV3, but the attribute value has increased slightly. The same is true for Diona, and the two quickly completed the transition. After chatting briefly, the two soon left the lounge with Riveria. Tired from shopping today, Saul also thought about going to bed early. Replenish your energy, don't need anyone to sleep with you tonight. Walking on the small path in the family, the Amazon sisters watched Riveria curiously. This is the most powerful magister in Legendary, Olali, and she really looks majestic. Compared with the brave Finn of the little human race next to Loki before, it seems that he is almost worse than this one. I heard that he is still an elf royal family, with countless halo bonuses, it is simply a perfect image. What's the matter? If you have anything to say, you can just say it. Well, is it okay for us to reject God Loki like this today? She looks really angry. You guys are worried about this. Don't worry, don't look at Loki-sama, she's pretty good. Riveria comforted the two of them softly, but her face showed an expression of indifference. However, I heard that the Loki family has a top LV6 adventurer named B. Don't worry, if you encounter any problems, just come to me, and I will take action when the time comes. Riveria's confident appearance reassured the two of them inexplicably. Why do you feel that the three LV6s are like a few little guys in her mouth, so confident? Noticing the curious expressions of the two, Riveria stopped in her tracks. They are already companions of their own family members, so some things can also be revealed to them. Anyway, after staying in the family for a long time, you will know this fact, and it doesn't matter if you tell them in advance. Pulling the two of them to sit down on a bench in the yard, Riveria's expression gradually became serious. The next thing I want to tell you is the secret of the family, remember to keep it secret outside. Well, don't worry. At the beginning, in order to reduce the taxes and expedition requirements that the family members had to pay, the ranks of some members of our family members were lowered by the guild. Is it possible to do this? If you are discovered, there is a high probability that you will be fined a little bit. Could it be that those LV5 seniors in the family are all lying about their levels? No, the people in LV5 are all guilds that report normally. Riveria rarely thought of playing around, and looked at the two girls in front of her with a smile. The heads of two Amazons are not stupid, so that Riveria cannot be afraid of 3 LV6, and the level of LV5 is not false, so the false report can only be. Are you sure that's why you thought of that, so you want to keep it a secret? Seeing Tion's excited reaction, Riveria put her index finger to her lips. The two women didn't know how to express their excitement for a while. Originally thought that the strength of the Sol family was already very strong, and it could be regarded as the first echelon in Orario. But if it's what they think, Riveria is a LV7 adventurer. Isn't that the same level as Olali's fierce Oda? What about the twin kings of Olali? How could the Sol family have quietly developed to such an extent? This power alone has already surpassed the Loki Familia. A LV7 elf magister should have no major problem against 3 LV6, and the Loki family's LV5 is really no more than their own family. What's more, there are so many reliable middle-aged people in my family. Before she knew it, Tiona had already referred to the Sol family as her own family. A strong sense of belonging and honor makes life easier, especially for a race like the Amazon with Mukchiang genes engraved in its bones. It's ridiculous to think that I was still worried about the Loki family not long ago. Instead of continuing on the topic, Riveria just let them digest the news for themselves. Since the last time the Thor family cut off the Amazon sisters, except for Rocky who occasionally came to find 1.0, more often life was very comfortable. Of course, if Loki came to find fault, he would usually not see Sol's face. Diona still likes to stick to Yang En's side after entering the family, and the other party is already immune to the title, Master. On the contrary, Tion is usually relatively free. Except for fighting with Seti from time to time, she usually goes out on adventures with the Veronica sisters. It seems that women prefer to cuddle together, even heroes. Aurelia's team also successfully upgraded to 3 people, and it seems that Riveria stuffed it into the bottle. This big baby also needs exercise. Unlike others, Aurelia is relatively reliable. And Chunji is still not very used to acting with other people, only Ari and Erika are the most acceptable to her. Chapter 77 Dolan Series. After that, the first 6 months passed very harmoniously. In order not to attract too many people's attention, Thor also gradually applied for the title of LV2 for these heroes of his own. If you apply too much at one time, you will definitely become the guild's attention. The most important thing is that the god meeting will take too long at that time, and he doesn't stay with those gods who should be fooled for too long. Since most of the heroes have their own titles, it doesn't take Sol Fei much brains to think about them. His family is strong enough, and he doesn't have to worry about titles like Hestia. Those gods who dare to thwart themselves with their titles will definitely let Riveria go to someone else's house as a guest. Basically, Sol can get any title he wants. And Ziggs, explosives were very popular in Olaline, and soon became an indispensable reserve item in the hands of middle and low-level adventurers. Although the profit of a bomb is not particularly scary, but these 19 gadgets are consumables, and the output is large enough. The shop on the ground floor of the Tower of Babel soon became Ziggs's bomb store. Encouraged, Ziggs developed several other types of bombs. Once released, it also exploded in Orario, earning a lot of wealth for the Sol family. And Giggs has also become Olali's famous blasting ghost. Although Couch and Rambo also produced results, they basically used their stuff for their own use, and there was no way to produce it on a large scale. Saul didn't mean to sell it either. After all, with Olali's exclusive business of bombs, he is not short of money at all. In Heimerdinger's workshop, the results of scientific research have been piled up into a hill in Curry. Except for the use of internal members of the family, it will basically not be spread outside. And this was originally a peaceful day, but Bobby's excited shouts broke the peace. Congratulations, you have arrived. Before Saul finished speaking, the door of the lounge was slammed open. Here comes Poppy. It was rare for this little guy to break in without knocking on the door, scaring Veronica, who was lying on the bed and renewing her favor, almost drew her sword and slashed at her. Fortunately, Saul was sitting on the opponent's body, and the original movement of getting up was suppressed by Suo's weight. Seeing Bobby's apologetic eyes, Saul graciously forgave him. This child has a steady personality, and usually he would not do such a thing. He must have something important to come to him. In general, the matters in the family are directly referred to Riveria, and there is no need to do it by yourself. Veronica covered her chest with a towel, and sat up on the bed after Saul left her body. Sorry Veronica, I'm so excited. Bobby bowed his head politely to Veronica and apologized. I'm fine, you should have something to explain to Master Saul when you come to see him. Oh, that's right. Master Saul, I have something important to report to you, please read this quickly. As if thinking of his purpose of coming here, Bobby quickly took out the work he carried behind his back. This is a sharp silver long sword, the blade exudes a chill, and there seems to be a strange energy surging in it. Veronica, who was originally sitting on the bed, widened her eyes instantly, looking at the long sword with a trace of longing in her eyes. Is this Doran's sword? Thor raised his eyebrows in surprise, took the sword from Bobby's hand, looked at it, and asked a little uncertainly. Ashamed to say, although he is Roland's creation god, after all, this is the first time he has seen these equipments in reality. But it shouldn't be wrong. That's right, it's the Dolan sword. I spent a lot of effort to make this sword. Bobby looked at Saul excitedly, and said as if asking for credit. Sure enough, Poppy's Iron Ambassador skill can make Roland's weapon. Saul let her try for such a long time, and finally saw the results, and the so much money spent in it can be regarded as a harvest. Although it is only the most primary Dolan series, it is a good start. At least it proved the feasibility of Bobby's skill, which is great news. After hesitating for a while, he noticed the eyes of Veronica on the bed and Saul handed over most of the swords. Roland's weapon will add attributes, just let people try the specific effect of this sword, and how is it different from Olari's equipment. It just so happens that Veronica is a swordsman, today is really a coincidence. Give it to me. Try it first and see how it differs from your current equipment. With Saul's approval, Veronica couldn't wait to take Dolan's sword. Some nostalgia touched the blade of the sword, and looked around, as if looking for something to chop. Soon Veronica had a target, and without waiting for Saul's consent, she jumped off the bed briskly, aimed at the vase on the table in the lounge, and slashed at it with the Doran sword in her hand. The vase shattered in response, and Veronica, who was holding the sword, immediately affirmed the sharpness of Dolan's sword. When she cut it down, she obviously felt very little resistance. However, this does not show the advantages of Dolan's sword, even normal swords can do this. 247. It is not easy to find other targets. There are not many things in the lounge. Except for vases, the value of other things seems to be too high. Soon Veronica seemed to have discovered something, and her eyes lit up obviously. Saul followed the other party's line of sight and saw the door that Bobby had just opened. Because it was knocked open, the gate is already in a trembling state, but a little repair should be able to save it. Don't. I'll find something else for you. Saul's reminder was over, Veronica gave full play to her speed, and came to the broken gate in the blink of an eye. Swing down along the center line, because the door is divided into two lines up and down. The incision is flat as if measured by a ruler. My door. Why did you leave me like this? This sword is really sharp. Veronica sighed with emotion, and looked at the Doran sword in her hand with satisfaction, completely ignoring Thor's helpless eyes. This is not the first time the door of my lounge has been demolished, don't you guys know how expensive my door is? Originally, it would be fine if it was repaired, but now it is fine, just replace it with a new one. Chapter 78 Demacia. Do you like this sword? The look of love was all over his face, and he was reluctant to put down the sword after trying it. Since Veronica was LV1 before, all the Familia provided her was the common long sword. It's also normal that she would want the Doran sword. It just so happened that Veronica upgraded this time, and this Doran sword was regarded as a gift for the other party. Can you give me? Of course, it's your reward for upgrading to LV2. Hey, have I finally leveled up? Veronica stared at Saul in surprise, for fear of saying something like, just kidding, from his mouth. This is simply more exciting news for her than getting Dolan's sword. Of course it's true, you worked so hard, this is what you deserve. Thor gently rubbed the other's little head, then took out a piece of parchment from behind and handed it over. A. Veronica. LV2. Strength. 10. Durability. 10. Dexterity. 10. Agility. EO. Mana. 10. A Magica. Wings of the Wind. A section wind magic. A. Improve agility. A. Singing text to wind, turn into my wings. A. Skilla. Sword dancer. A. Improve dexterity. A. Continuously improve dodge when using sword dance. A. During battle, temporarily possess the ability to develop A. Swordsmana. Development ability. A. Huntera. The favor panel has not changed much. In addition to the level increase, there is also a hunter's development ability. Since there is only one optional development ability, Saul also saves the step of seeking Veronica's opinion. This little genius has endured a lot of pressure from his family. After all, none of the heroes Suo Ran summoned were from the commons, and they joined the Familia later than Veronica, but they all rose to LV2 first. How can she bear it? Veronica is not as Buddhist as her sister, she is still a competitive character in her bones, she really just gritted her teeth and worked hard. Saul felt distressed when he saw it. After more than a year of hard work, she has finally been promoted to LV2 this time, which is not far behind Isa's original upgrade time. Of course, this is the speed at which newcomer adventurers in the wrong world should upgrade. The heroes of Soul's family are exceptions. They are only letting Enwei gradually digest the power in their bodies, which leads to abnormal upgrade speed. Bobby, you have made a great contribution this time, and I will ask you to make more equipment next time. After appeasing Veronica Saul, he did not forget to praise Bobby. But it was just a verbal praise, which perfectly exposed the nature of a capitalist. Squeeze the labor force of the family members. Master Saul, are you alright? Soon, several figures appeared at the gate, and they all rushed over after noticing that the gate of the lounge was destroyed. Maybe they just came to see the excitement, and each of them looked at the situation inside. An expression of wanting to eat melon. What do you all want to see around here, and what should you do? Saul snorted lightly, and the guys watching the excitement outside the door immediately dispersed. When the surroundings became quiet, Saul turned around and drove the two of them out of the lounge. With one hand, he is perfect in killing donkeys. It is really troublesome to find someone to repair the door later. In the early morning a few days later, the sun had already started its day's work. Saul woke up slowly on the huge bed. The parallel consciousness kept arguing in his mind, saying that the construction of Ionia had been completed. No, the construction of Ionia has been completed. Saul opened his eyes instantly, sat up and leaned against the bedside table, and yawned big. But finally sober up a lot. Ionia finished. Of course, you are really leisurely, so I don't know how to help. I made it for you to work, otherwise why do you need it? Hateful. The little temper of the parallel consciousness suddenly came up, but in front of the main body, there was no way to turn the tide. It was suppressed by Saul in an instant. Normally, maybe he still has the leisure to appease himself, but right now he has important things to do. The heroes of Ionia can already be summoned, which city will be created next? How about Zon, which is full of talents? There are bosses who research technology, there are heroes who can fight, and there are bosses like Janna. No matter how you think about it, it is also a jack of all trades choice. The only downside is that some of the heroes in Zon do not have a very good image. At least it has to be personal. Like Zack, Mouse, Crab, Werewolf. Counting with fingers, it seems that the normal ones are not as many as these abnormal ones. At that time, don't be summoned and be brushed off by the adventurers of Orario as some novelty monster. There are also Victor and the robot. Victor can say a little bit, can the robot really get favors? Saul put a big question mark in his heart. Quote. Is it decided? I want Demacia. After thinking for a moment, Saul resolutely gave up the initial decision. Zahn's priority doesn't seem to be as high as he thought. Sure enough, the stable Demacia is better. The main reason is that Saul is a little jealous of the pure all-round support of the piano girl. As far as Roland is concerned, when it comes to auxiliary abilities, Jana is the only soft assistant who can compete with Chinnu. Seraphine is also good, but Piltover's priority is definitely not as good as that of Demacia. Anyway, Demacia still has many powerful heroes. The key is that there are more handsome men and beautiful women, which fits Denuo's current image of the Saul family. Then start building Demacia. Since you don't need money, get more magic stones, so I can make it faster. I know, go to work. Disgusting and driving away his juxtaposition consciousness, an idea suddenly popped up in Soul's heart. Olali has been too peaceful recently, like a curve without fluctuations, which can't bring him any freshness at all. Time to get out and find your lost passion. Alfia, come out with me. Walking out of the lounge, the brand new door is stronger than the original, shining brightly in the sun. He called out to the empty air, and soon a figure appeared behind him. In the past year, he obviously hasn't fought in the dungeon much, but the various attributes of Algaya have still improved a lot. A monster worthy of the opponent. Chapter 79 Roland, Ionia. Where are you going? Seeing that Saul went back to the lounge on his own, Algaya's eyes suddenly became strange. Although after getting along with her during this period, she has a good impression of Saul, but are you being too direct? Do you want me to rest with you in the lounge for a while? Do I have to warm up your bed? How much to hide it? What's the matter with you? Come in quickly. Should I be a little more reserved now? Soul's urging voice sounded in the lounge again. Alfia's head was hot, and without caring too much, she lowered her head and stepped over the threshold and got in. As soon as he walked into the lounge, what appeared in front of him was a strange door. Alfia can say with certainty that there was absolutely no such thing in the lounge before. Who the hell has nothing to do and install a door in the middle of the lounge? This is a portal. What I want to show you next is the biggest secret of our Saul family. Saul stood beside the portal excitedly, eagerly introducing the masterpiece he had just completed to Algaya. Portal. Is this a portal leading to 190 places? Although I have never seen the so-called portal, but I can probably know the function of this thing just by the name. Also, why can Saul use this million zone? Doesn't it mean that gods can't use their divine power in the lower realm? I'll answer your questions one by one in a while. Go with me now, otherwise Riveria will be angry again when she comes back. At this time, he didn't care about Algaya's opinion anymore. Saul grabbed Algaya's wrist. The tall portal dissipated into the air immediately after the two entered. Here it is. Before I fully experienced the feeling of teleportation, the scene in front of me has changed, and it turned out to be a lush jungle. It was obvious that this place was no longer Olali, and it didn't even match any place in her memory. Is that so-called portal connected to this place? This is the biggest secret of the Thor family, my masterpiece over the years, Valoran. And this land belongs to a country called Ionia. Thor's eyes were full of pride, as if he was in someone else's eyes. Introduce your proud child. This is also his first time in Roland, so this memory must be engraved in his mind. Sure enough, Ionia did not let itself down. The land full of vitality, lush forests and mountains, and the fresh air make people feel refreshed. Nice job juxtaposing awareness. But what surprised Alcua the most was the huge magic power contained in this land, which was simply much stronger than Olali. Ha ha ha, not bad for this place. Indeed, but what amazes me even more is that you can create such a magnificent world. Of course, my uncle is Aurelion Saul. The dragon god is only a part-time job, and my main job is the creation god. Saul, who was praised, raised his head high. It took Alcua a while to digest Valoran's existence. Seeing the surprised expression on this woman who has always been calm, Saul only felt dark in his heart. Those beautiful heterochromatic pupils are particularly eye-catching. It had been a long time since Alcoa came to his family, and it was the first time Saul saw her open her eyes. It seems that he wants to completely imprint Ionia's appearance into his memory. Finally, he showed his majesty as a god. There should be life that belongs to this world. Althea asked softly. Of course, the hometown of Aurelia and Ari is Ionia. In the future, I will continue to expand this world and build more city-states. I see. I wonder where your charm can attract so many excellent talents. Althea joked mischievously with Saul. She seems to be in a good mood. Saul's willingness to share this secret with her made her feel truly one of her own. My charisma is also very high, otherwise the children of this world would not recognize me. Saul defended himself indignantly. However, compared with your big money, the family members of the Ares god's country are not enough. Of course, Ares, that muscular idiot, can compare to me. A god of war who only cares about fighting and not winning can only smile. It's not as good as the development of the Kali family. But you have to pay attention. It would be bad if people in the guild find out that you are using divine power in the lower realm. Don't worry, I didn't use divine power. All the abilities used by Saul are carried out through the intermediary of parallel consciousness. What does the divine power used by the parallel consciousness have to do with Thor? What's more, the parallel consciousness is originally in the heaven. Isn't it normal to use divine power in the heavens? Nothing wrong with it. Anyway, as long as you know what's in your mind. Just relax, I won't be caught by the guild. Don't act like you don't care if you don't get caught. Argia patted his forehead helplessly, but she only persuaded him once, and left it to Riveria to do it later. She is better at this kind of thing. Go, I'll show you around the world. I didn't expect that Ionia has been developed to such an extent. If I take all the heroes away, won't there be problems in this land? Like Karlma the Apocalypse, the hero who best represents Ionia. He is the leader of the people of Ionia. Without her, the supreme leader of this land is gone. He is not a tyrant who only summons people regardless of life and death, and he does not do things that are exhausted. Even if he really summoned Karlma in the future, maybe he should let the other party return to Ionia to manage this land on weekdays. Master Sala, what's the matter? It's okay, I just remembered something, let's advance to the city. In the distance, the town surrounded by the forest can already be seen, and it seems that the distance is not far away. Soon Saul realized that he was wrong, and this road was not as easy as they saw. Chapter 80 The Weak Woman of LV8. Give me a ride, Alcoa, I really can't walk anymore. Do you want me, a weak woman, to carry you? How can the dignified creator god care so little about his image in his own world? A weak woman of LV8. Saul rolled his eyes angrily, looking for a reason, not a reliable one. Don't worry, no one will see it. Seeing that Alkaia's unwillingness to refuse was not strong, Fulton put in a lot of effort. Just drop me off when you get closer to the city. You are really, just take you there. Yes, please. As soon as Saul finished speaking, Alhoya took the initiative to grab your shoulder. Before he could react, he had already flown far away in the blink of an eye. The surrounding scene was rapidly receding, and the whistling wind was all around his ears. What's this? Slow down. How can you carry your own god in your hand like a package? Even if my physical fitness is good, I can't do this. If I had known this, I might as well do it myself. After coming to VA Roland, Thor doesn't have to restrain his divine power anymore. Before, I just saw that Althea was in a good mood and wanted to make a joke with him, who knew that he would actually do this. But the speed is really fast, within a few minutes, Althea will stop. Not far ahead is the gate of the town, and many buildings with Ionian characteristics can already be seen, many of which are even built directly on the cliff. Ionia's architectural style is full of natural elegance, reflecting the ethereal beauty of this land. The vast open space allows people in it to always feel the vitality. The two walked slowly into the town, and he immediately noticed a large number of residents. This is a real world. Although most of the heroes in Ionia have been summoned to Orario by Saul, the number of heroes only accounts for a small part after all, and the common people are still the main ones. If anyone says that there are no good seedlings among these common people, Saul will definitely not believe it. Comparing with Olali now, it is basically impossible to find a good seedling in Olali without a family. The current Olali is simply a fish pond that has been scooped up several times by exorbitant households. People with a little bit of talent have already joined the family and become adventurers. At present, the recruiting of each family basically depends on newcomers from outside the city. A large part of the reason why there are so many members of the Ganesha family is that they have taken over the entire gatekeeping task of Orario. People from the Ganesha Familia who are newcomers to Olali are usually the first to know about it, just like they directly cast a net at the mouth of the sea to catch the big fish inside. Now every day, there are many gods with nothing to do at the gate, eagerly waiting for newcomers. Compared with Olali's current look of exhausted potential, Ionia is simply an untapped treasure land. Population is the decisive force. Is this place very lively? That's right, it's really lively. Even without the presence of heroes, there's no semblance of chaos here. After all, the people of Ionia are peace-loving. There is not even a standing army here. Such a large piece of rich land makes them not need to worry about their lives. The two of them don't need to hide anything here, after all, no one knows them. Even if it is the identity of God Saul, no one knows except Althea. After a brief stroll, we quickly circled the small town. Goya didn't express any opinions during the whole process, but judging by the faint smile on her face, this girl seemed to like this place very much. Quiet, peaceful, away from worldly disputes. As an existence known as the Earth of Birth, magic fills every corner of Ionia. This town is too small, let's go to Presidium to have fun. I'll follow your orders. I just arrived here, and I don't know a single place in Algaya. Of course, Saul didn't know it either, but after the parallel consciousness created Ionia, all the information about this land naturally appeared in his mind. As if he knew it all the time. This time he didn't plan to ask Goya to help him again, and he hadn't moved for many years after he went down to the realm. Ask for Flowersa. After a little movement of the body, the bones in the body seemed to make a burst of noise. Back off a little, don't affect you. Oh. Then I'm looking forward to your performance. Alcoa smiled lightly, but still kept a distance away honestly. But he didn't go too far, still staring at Saul. It was the first time for her to see the power of the gods, and she was somewhat looking forward to it. Although the gods in the lower realm had seen many, they all took the initiative to seal their divine power, and Alkia also wanted to know how strong the gods were. I saw Saul in the distance standing up straight slowly. It was clearly broad daylight, but she could clearly see the bright stars shining around him. 0. Soon, the starlight flooded Saul's body, followed by a melodious dragon roar floating from a distance. The violent energy erupted in Saul's body, and the surrounding vegetation fell to one side, as if it had been ravaged by a strong wind. The next moment, the head shot up into the sky and disappeared into the clouds in an instant. Zonblu's transparent body made it difficult for Alkia to look away. After a long time, Althea saw Thor's front paws, followed by the back paws and tail. The starlight flickered in Saul's body, as if covering the sky full of stars on his body. How big is the main body of the god in my house? It feels like those giant-like floor masters in the dungeon are like little brothers in front of the main body of their god. Even the three monsters commissioned by Behemoth, Leviathan, and Black Dragon have no chance of winning compared to Saul's size. However, what Althea didn't know was that this was only the size that Saul deliberately controlled. His real body is capable of covering an entire planet with one claw. Now this degree is only pediatrics. As if to vent his depression of suppressing his strength for so many years, Saul circled twice in the sky presumptuously. Fortunately, no one else was around, otherwise it would definitely cause a commotion. Beautiful lady, do you want me to give you a ride? Indulging himself a bit, Saul stood up for his body in front of Arya. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.